I think it's a fine idea.
But it's my idea, so I know it's a fine idea.
Nut chat. Welcome to Nut Chat.
What? So what is this?
What nut am I in the shape of right now?
Peanut, I have been smashing nuts during lockdown.
Yeah.
Smashing
Yes,
nuts all day.
This man is actually the developer of The Artful Escape.
I'm a real person, like a shoulder-length glove from an outstretched arm. And he takes the helmet off. What's up, dude? And he goes, morning.
That's how we all survive as vampires, by keeping it a secret.
So they, right? That's how they survive, not we.
What a twist! Hello, everyone, and welcome to Back Pocket for Thursday, the 16th of September, live at the Loki Studios. Tonight on the show, lots of good things, then lots of bad things, then lots of dice. I can't roll double snake eyes by myself, so I'm joined by...
Is double snake eyes
4?
4? Because that'd be...
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm rolling 4. I'm rolling
snakes.
4 dice. Yeah.
Yes. Gus here. Good morning. I've been watching that clip of him say good morning like Keanu Reeves, and now it just is in my head. I'm like, good evening, good morning. I imagine that's how he's just so damn polite every time. Yes, that is my good morning. I'm Gus. Below me
Is Steph, and I have a special guest, which you might be able to see just over there in a little box.
Is it Pete?
That's Gandalf just hanging out, being a sweet little boy.
Oh, I missed it.
in an orange.
Show us
fruit box?
show us again.
There he is.
He's so squished.
That is such a level of don't look at me.
Is this a box that he's often in, or is this a special office box?
New box?
No, it's. I mean, I don't really like to have boxes on our dining room table perpetually. So usually, when we have a box that is appropriate cat size, we'll put it out, and they usually get to enjoy it for about 2 weeks before the box goes away. But I feel like it's good because then they get to forget the joy of the box, so that when a new box comes, it's
I do the
it's new
same
again.
things with Coles bags. The not the plastic ones, the canvas bags. You put them down. the green ones, the recycled. No, Woolies, not Coles. Woolies. They have
That makes it better.
They have the box. No, they have the boxy shaped bags, and they stay open on the
paper
floor,
bags.
so a cat sees that and just goes inside it and just sends it
the sound of
flying
it is
across
amazing.
the room. So I'm not putting my cat in a plastic bag, Nick.
No, because what I was going to say is, often you do that with kids, where you go like, I'm going to
Them
take
plastic
some
bags.
toys away and then bring them out again in 2 weeks' time, and it's like a new toy. So that's where my head was. So then you were like, oh, it's the same with plastic bags. And I was like, does Gus hide plastic bags from himself so he gets the joy of using a different plastic bag at like a different week?
Living alone is a weird thing. You get your kicks where you can.
All right, and Pete's here too.
Hi.
Get in your box, Pete.
I too am surrounded by boxes because we're packing to move.
Mm.
There are boxes everywhere. Like this office right now, towering boxes everywhere. We made sure that this was clear, but it's just ridiculous. You can't get around the house at the moment, and we're not moving for another 5 weeks. I don't know why we did this so early.
Why keep your background clear? Because if anything, when you have a work call and there's boxes around you, it can excuse anything you need to do on that work call. You can either leave it early, you can be like, I'm sorry I didn't get around to that. Clearly I'm moving. I think people should just put boxes behind them all the time. So it just looks like, God, you must be busy. Why are you on this call? Get off this call. And you're like, I had nothing to do. I was just putting boxes behind me.
You're trying to leverage it.
That's good. I could set up like a fishing line situation where there's a bunch of empty cardboard boxes behind me. The bottom one is tied to a fishing line, and if we want to like get out of a meeting early, it's
just
like
kick
pull
your leg.
that. They topple over, and then you guys are like, we're gonna save Nick.
I'm coming. I'll be there in 2 hours.
This is how we run our business.
Says Jessie.
They should be Boxwell boxes.
Yeah.
Nothing gets boxed like a Boxwell box, and I think we'll learn that information a bit later. Speaking of Boxwell boxes, Will's here.
No
Sure
boxes. Do I have any boxes?
Let's bring up another box, and there's the boy in the box.
It's V. I'm still reeling from when Nick said that he puts kids' toys away. That literally shook me to my core. The idea of
Putting
having
toys
to not
away
be with
You want to be able to play with whatever toy you feel like in the moment.
It terrified me.
You're a grown-up. You can play with whatever toy you want for as long as you want. Whenever.
Thank you, adult.
But like we literally got given a bag of just like dolls and action figures and stuff from the kids' cousins, and it was like, you can have 4 of these right now, and there's like 30 in the bag, because it's like, if we give you all 30 of these, tomorrow they'll stop being special, so we're just going to rotate these out, and you rotate out 4 dolls at a time, or 30 dolls. I can't even do that maths, but they're going to think they're getting new dolls forever. They're going to forget about so it's
very
genius.
exciting.
It's genius.
I had rich neighbors, and they had 2 sons that had like every console as soon as it came out, and every toy. They had a quad bike.
In the suburbs?
Just casually.
Yep.
And
Sorry,
they always
Steph,
seem
one more
to be
time.
a quad bike.
A quad bike.
But they always seem to be like so unenthused about everything they had. Like I would go over there and it was like a freaking party. I was like, I'm going to ride the quad bike and I'm going to play Sega at the same time.
think about being an adult. Like, think about being an adult and how like you can go, like, and if you're in a privileged position, but like, you know, relatively, we're not wanting for too much at the moment. It's like video game comes out, I'm just going to buy that video game. And then as soon as I get it, I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just wait for the next one. When you're a kid, you're like, I'm going to play this for a year. A year, I tell you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Argonide, for the gift subs in chat.
Was that Ben?
Hype Trains. I don't think it is Ben. Because Ben goes by Argon.
That's true.
Maybe he's made an alt account. So
And
he can-
Toxic Chalk as well. Thank you, guys. But
Toxic
remember,
Chalk's
only
back.
a few at a time, because it'll stop being special. You got to put them away after a while.
Yeah.
You
Put the
gotta
toys away.
get those
Okay,
gift
yeah,
subs.
Put the gift subs away. Juice Danger, I'm sure, appreciates it right now, but you don't want to spoil Juice Danger.
Who's Juice Danger? Oh, Juice Danger
Sub
got a
delivered to
sub.
you,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
you
nice.
can-
there you
Juice
go.
Danger is a great name as well. I wonder if it's like the juice is not safe to drink, or Juice Danger is like protecting juices, telling Juice that there's danger coming their way. You know what I mean? Let's talk about it.
Maybe Danger's their middle name.
Maybe
It's
Juice
Austin
is their
Ben.
middle name and
It's
Danger's
like-
their last name.
Yeah, it's like Juice Danger Robertson. Okay, cool. We've had our fun here. Speaking of funny names in the chat, I do want to shout out Evil Spy Boy, because if you don't watch the news on Mondays, first of all, what the fuck is wrong with you? We make this show, but on a Monday, arguably better, because it's all about breaking news and not about like juice. But the news segment, !Tim, went on to bigger and better things, sold his company. He doesn't want us just advertising for the competition now, and we couldn't advertise drinking mojitos while getting your toes licked in the Bahamas. And so instead, we opened that spot up. Evil Spy Boy picked it up. At the time, though, on Monday, I forgot to get the information that he wanted me to say on the show, and I couldn't get it in time because of stupid 2-factor authentication on Patreon messages. So I've got it here now. Evil Spy Boy, get your exclamation mark Spy Boys out in the chat, because thanks to his generous Patreon support, Evil Spy Boy is bringing you the backup, and he's hoping you bring the generosity to Food Bank Australia. Food Bank is Australia's largest food relief organisation, providing 88 million meals a year. That's 241,000 meals every single day to more than 2,600 charities around the country, accounting for 79% of all food received by charities from food rescue organisations. Food Bank provides regular breakfast to more than 132,000 students at schools around the country, and on top of this, more than 200,000 kids seek food relief from our charities every month. And by our, I mean Food Bank, not us. We don't run a food charity. So the exclamation mark Spy Boy in the chat will pop up a link to be able to go and donate to foodbank.org.au on behalf of Evil
There
Spy
it is.
Boy. And it's not even, you don't even need to say his name. He's just like, these people do a good thing, and maybe you could go do a good thing for those people as well. So
In fact, I
Evil
would
Spy
encourage
Boy-
people not to say his name when they go to a charity, a good fund, and say, we're here on behalf of Evil Spy Boy. And they're like, okay, not sure. We know it's a jest, we know it's a playful name, but they might not. So, you know.
We got so many variations there. We got Reese says Evil Spy Boy, more like good person, man. Dong says it doesn't sound evil. Miss Silver says, what a good spy boy. Fourth Ripper says, that's not very evil. Everyone's on the same page here. And then Benny G just goes, yeah, what a cool dude. And I think
He's a
that's right.
conflicted antagonist. He wants to give, but he's evil to his core. So, you know, make of that what you will.
So Spy Boy, sorry, we missed that on Monday, and we're not going to miss it moving forward. And you had it here now on this show. So you got a double dip. All right. Everyone good?
Yeah.
I just want to shout out, Steph, you're looking cool right now. The necklace?
Thanks.
The bold headset?
I'm just Lockdown is very boring, and I think I actually got to the point where I started watching like makeup tutorials on YouTube, where I've always been very lazy when it comes to like personal appearance. I will do the absolute minimum and be jeans and t-shirt person. But I've reached the point where I'm so bored that I don't get to put on clothes to go out and see people, that I'm like, what am I going to do this week for back pocket? Ponytail, let's go.
So I'm the opposite. I am in the worst looking trackies I've ever worn. And tonight I was like, I should put some jeans on for the show. I'm like, no one will see, but I'm like, maybe it'll just make me act smarter that I'm in jeans. I'm like, no, I'm in loose fitting stained tracksuit pants. So you're definitely doing.
Give us a look. Stand up, give us a twirl.
Give
us a spin.
Just these ones.
Yeah, those are comfy.
They're the Call of Duty ones.
Nice.
It's a sexy, sexy dance, Gus.
Very nice.
Don't ever
What
try
a
and
bounce.
dance. Do butt stuff. Don't ever try and do the front
No.
stuff.
I don't know what that was.
Do butt stuff?
That was that
We'd
was
like if you're showing your
terms of
pants.
service.
If you're showing
Dangerous.
your pants.
Somebody in chat, El Beno said Nick is even wearing pants. See, I switch between being Gus and being Steph, because sometimes I go like, I put on shoes, like socks and shoes and everything to be just like this, make it feel like work. Whereas right now, I'm not. I realized today that the annoying thing is I am still constantly buying new clothes, because I'm like, oh, I love to buy, wear something new on the show and blah, blah, blah. But now I wear, and look, it's you can't see anything. It's just like there's a microphone here. I bought this. Look at this cool t-shirt. Look at this t-shirt.
Peanut.
Now lift your pants up. Now lift your pants up and dance.
Peanut.
Like I did.
Oh, they're cool.
Oh my god.
Look at those shorts.
Whoa.
Oh wow.
Are they?
Sometimes though, it's just got to be for you. I put on perfume last week. to stream.
Feet, Nick. Feet.
No one can smell
It doesn't
me.
count for
no
men.
one can smell, but
No one can smell.
I know I smell good, and so that's what matters.
I want to highlight Will's shirt. I've been looking for new flannel recently, and I'm inspired by Will. I feel like you would be the person who, when I'm wearing my hat backwards and I'm doing my Gilmore Girls coffee guy, you'd be the person who'd come in to get a coffee from my said
Luke.
No.
Yeah, from Luke. I've never seen the show, but you look like someone who would order a coffee from said store, and I admire it.
A hot chocolate.
I know this.
Or
But
a
I've never
milkshake.
watched it.
Yeah,
Stuff.
A milkshake.
milkshake.
You come in. You have a milkshake.
Yeah,
and
but in a
it's
keep
to make
cup.
in a keep cup. Or you have a baby chino, and it's like, what's wrong, kid? And you're like, Nick took away most of my toys because he said it would
Mum
make him
crawled
feel
into
more
my room and
special.
took my toys.
Now someone
hot
compliment me.
You always look good.
You always look handsome, Peter.
Yeah.
Dashing.
Peter.
Yeah.
Dashing.
Speaking of nut chat, right in your mouth. All right, let's move on.
Speaking of nut chat.
Yeah. You always look good, Pete. You're a good-looking man.
Effortless. Annoyingly
let's move on.
effortless.
Yeah, I know.
Should we move on?
You're handsome as well, Gus. I can't say you're not attractive because we're basically the same person.
No, I know, but Pete does the effortless one. Some mornings, you and I look like attractive under morning. Like,
Don't throw Nick on the bus.
He really
Why
turned
not
that one
be
around.
self-deprecating? Not team-deprecating.
that was actually trying. No, I'm going to say this. Nick. That was trying to compliment it with an element of you and I sometimes have a bit of chaos about our look in the mornings. It's attractive. It's a different kind of attractive. Peter never has chaos.
Put Will in Gus's box?
No, I'm dying on this hill. You and I occasionally it's the large amounts of hair and the beard. We just look a little razzled sometimes. Pete just always looks like, even when he's fresh out of bed, looks like he's run a comb through his hair every time, even when he hasn't. It's frustrating.
All right.
I think you both owned your razzled looks. They look
No, I know we do.
intentional.
Yeah.
How does Gus keep finding new hills?
How does he keep coming back to life to die on the net?
Nick, I'm just saying what we're playing.
Okay, let's move on to our first segment. I'm just saying what you're been playing. Brought to you by Brett Jones, aka LokiCat. Talk about a man who's effortless. He can ride a motorcycle. He can wear long hair. He can grope old men with consent. And he can subscribe to our Patreon. And so therefore he can own this segment. He can do everything. He's LokiCat. LokiCat. There you go. I was like that. I was about to say that's all I have. But like that's more than we give most sponsors.
I thought it was impressive.
Let's start off with the video games we've been playing this week, and let's start off with the big game, Gus, that you started streaming last night.
I did. I kicked off the Game Club stream of Deathloop, the game that came out this week, Monday. This came out this week.
2 days.
What day is it?
What day is it? Very
that's a
good
good
question, Steph. I played about 3 or 4 hours of this last night, so I'm just in the very opening hours of it. I know, Nick, you've played a considerable amount more. Peter, in between that, by the sounds of it. Steph, have you dabbled
Probably
yet?
played more than Nick.
Oh, okay.
No, I checked. Pete's played 11 hours. I played 13 hours. So
Yeah,
we're,
he
checked.
we're roughly.
He checked.
Well, I saw after googling how to find out time played on Steam.com.
I've played about 3 hours so far,
Okay,
so
cool.
I've just sort of like started to get my groove in it.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at too. People who watched the stream last night will see that like I went through what I would say was about a 2.5 hour, 3 hour tutorial in terms of being introduced to mechanics and things that are there. I fell in love with the waking up on the beach bit. No spoilers obviously here, but I then very quickly fell into the idea of this is teaching you a lot of how to get through this game, navigate this game, understand the concept of what this game is. I said on the stream I went a bit dark for about 3 weeks prior to not watching any reviews, not watching any previews and trailers trying to explain it to me. Because then I was explained it all in the game numerous times through numerous large text boxes and pop-ups. It's by no means a crime for them to do it that way. It seems like there's a lot of information and things to wrap your head around, be it the time looping itself, also your objectives, your powers, your abilities, which feel very in tow with like Arcane's kind of stuff. And it unfortunately doesn't gel as well with me as I wish it did. I remember kind of falling off the Dishonored train because of that. That said, after the 3 hours, and easy scruffy Nick, after the 3 hours, I was like, okay, it seems like the training wheels are off and I'm going to enjoy running amok. And that is the thing I will lead this on in terms of I'm ready to go balls to the wall, shooting shit up while doing my objectives, because I'm not a fan of first-person stealth. And that's kind of why, again, I wasn't as much a fan of Dishonored 1 and 2. I find it really frustrating not to have a third-person camera to swing around, and I find enemies seeing where you are or, indicators, no matter how clear they are, I find it frustrating. So I'm hoping that it happens. And Nick, you pointed out something when we handed the streams across last night, that I was doing that thing at the beginning, kind of what we're seeing here, which is being really afraid of everyone on the map, thinking one guard will set an alarm off and fail an objective, where it's actually a lot more forgiving than I expected. And I think I'm at that point now going, I can be stealthy if I want, but I can also approach things in a far more sort of gung-ho kind of way. So I'm reinvigorated to jump into this. I think my next playthrough of this on the Game Club stream will be like a good 9 hour, 8 hour stream. I just want to sit down and just get hooked on this, because I think small bite size chunks is probably going to be frustrating. But yeah, I love the aesthetic. I love the idea of where this is all going to go. And it's frustrating to see a game that's beyond it's so ambitious in its construction. I don't know. Did you find the same kind of, not frustration, but laboriousness at the beginning?
If I can jump in, because I think I probably have a similar sort of feeling to you. I think as soon as I started playing this, I could totally recognize that it's such a smart and clever and stylish game. I think it's really well put together. It's just not for me. I don't think it's not. I'm similar to you. I don't love first-person stealth a whole lot. I don't have an issue with it in general, but it's not my favorite way to play. But I also think just the repetition that comes with anything to do with a time loop mechanic, I enjoy that when it's in a narrative setting, but in a gameplay setting like this, I don't like redoing things because I'm not good enough the first time. I also think that, we've had conversations about accessibility and difficulty settings in the past. This doesn't have any. You have to be good at video games to play this, I think. I'm doing okay with it, but it's a decent challenge. And I feel like this is the kind of game that I don't enjoy enough to want to play it on the set difficulty. I'd probably just want to drop it down so I could just kind of burn through it quicker and get a sense of the whole game. And the fact that I can't do that irritates me. But yeah, I don't know. I think if this was back at the ABC and we were reviewing it for Good Game, I would totally, understand how incredible it is. I get why people like it. I think it's very smart in its design, and it's so stylish. And I love the voice acting and the characters. He's like, Colt is such a cool character to play as. I love all of his little quips and lines, and it makes him so appealing as a character to play. I'm so glad that we're moving away from just like brooding kind of dudes who are just kind of grunting and super moody. And it's nice for him to have some like, style and humor and personality. Yeah. But yeah, it's just not for me. So I think I obviously will keep playing it for Game Club, but it's just...
I feel like we're all going to weigh in on this, but I did just want to say it's a good point about it being difficult, like being good at video games, because it's not just as a shooter. There's a lot of abilities to juggle here. There's a lot of sort of inventory and power-ups. There's a lot of like creating your own sort of like understanding of what mission structure, of like dealing with that in the sort of maps and sections off. Like, I think that's a really good point to make, that it's like, this is a big test of video game sort of capability, and there's a lot to, and so that's just, it can be a lot up front. But yeah, maybe I'm hoping that wears away as I keep playing and I start to really fall to become infatuated with it as I go, because you guys seem far more keen on it from playing more.
Yeah, I think like if I jump in now and we go from like coldest to hottest, maybe I think it's I think the game is brilliant. It's beautifully put together. I think the more you play of it, Gus, the more you'll see why they did hand holding at the start, in terms of like just really hammering home how things work, forcing you to click the menus that they want you to click at the time. It's too easy in games that are, because it's so easy to come into this and go like, I know how to play shooters. I understand like action shooter level based games. So I'm just I skip menus all the time in video games. I always do it. And it was hard to do that, and for good reason, because it's teaching you all the things that it needs you to know for you to then be able to go out and play freely for the next 15 hours after those first 3.
I want to be at that point later when you're playing it, when talking to someone and you're like, oh, I didn't know you could do that.
I didn't know how to infuse, or I didn't know how to do like some mechanic that is like really important.
Yeah.
And it's like part of my frustration with a game like Outer Wilds, which is a time loop game about pulling together pieces of a story. It doesn't do any hand holding. There are far more obtuse systems that help you track what you've accomplished. But the ways in which this holds your hand, I find are excellent, because I want to read a piece of paper that has like a bunch of text on it, sure, but the only important piece of information as far as the game is concerned was that 4-digit code that was written in the middle there. And as long as I've read that, Cole remembers that. I don't have to remember that. The game, Colt, remembers that. So that's, I think, part of what's making it so fluid for me, is that story can be exhausting to absorb, but the game does all the work for you. It lets you feel like you've engaged with it, and then it holds, and then it keeps that information for you. You don't need to remember that, and you can just auto-fill the codes to the doors, or you can remember Colt remembers the password to speak into the box at that door or whatever. So I think
even Colt knows that there's something in the warehouse on the other side of the map that he should go check out.
Yes,
it's a very
clear objective marker.
Yeah, it's literally like, this is what you should be doing next time you're in this space.
Yeah. Just quickly, like it's taken me a while to realize that, because the way you learn that Cole knows is by first reading 3 slabs of text, taking it all in, and for me on the stream, reading it again and being like, okay, reminding myself about the terminology and the lore and stuff is fantastic. I love how deep that is, and I want that to become second nature. But then when I click out of that big chunk of text, he goes, all right, I gotta go here and kill him. I'm like, oh, okay, if you were gonna tell me that too, I wouldn't have sat there and read that slab 3 times. But as you said,
but you know that after the first slab.
Sorry, yeah, but now I know that, and now I know that he will also, as you said, Pete, like remind or keep things simplified. So I can play with 80% of my brain to the story and the rest onto the action kind of thing. So yeah,
the time of day stuff has fucked me up a few times too, because I will select a quest and follow the marker, and then I get there, and then the quest marker is telling me to go back through the door that I came from, and it's because I haven't selected the right time of day that encounter is supposed to take place, and that's just like a learning curve thing, I guess. It's just
So
yeah, I think it's all pretty clear.
I think that and you're right, like for me, game of the year, which sucks because I loved my previous game of the year, loved it. I was so happy with that as a choice. But this is like, I adore this game so much. I think it might help to just like very quickly, I could see why they had so much trouble marketing this. It is a 3-hour tutorial at the beginning, but I think it's phenomenal. Like, I don't think of it as a tutorial. It's like, I think it is such a strong opening. Like, there is so much character, so much personality to this game, so much of like realizing quickly what is so cool about this. But the way that it works, if you haven't seen, is that you wake up and it's morning. You're on a beach, and then you go through the space that you don't really remember, and then you get killed, and then you wake up, and now it's noon, and you're sort of back on that beach, and then you basically go through this initial long day where you go from morning, noon, afternoon, evening, in a couple of different locations, and then you die at the end of the day, and then you wake up again in the morning, and now you basically, because I think that a lot of the game is a menu. It's like, it's really chunked up into this thing of like, you set a loadout of like the weapons that you want and the special powers that you want to use, but also your loadout is like, what time of day do you want it to be, and which of these 4 areas do you want to go to? And each of those 4 areas has 4 variations for each of the different times of day. And so you're actually looking at, what is that? 16 basically different areas that you could go to and like over the course of a day. And then as you discover things in each area, it leads you to other areas. And the idea is that you want to kill these 8 visionaries, who are these sort of like bosses basically. But the problem is, like, they know that if you kill all of them, you think that will reset your loop and you will break out of the time loop. So they're all told, don't ever be near each other, because if anyone kills us, then this time loop that we're in disappears. So the whole game is about trying to force these people through various actions that you do over the course of your gameplay to go into spaces where other visionaries are. So you go through like a 4-hour quest over the course of multiple days in multiple areas at multiple time frames. And at the end of that, you go, okay, well, this person is now going to be in this area tonight as opposed to in their area tonight, and they'll be with another boss. So I can actually go kill 2 people at once, because you can only go to 4 areas in one day. That's confusing.
Does that imply that you're going to have, that there's going to be at the end game 2 visionaries per time zone?
But by your design, right? Like, and maybe it's not exactly that.
Maybe it's not exactly
We're
that.
both
Maybe
not
it's
quite at the end.
3, 1,
it might be
4
3 and a 1, and But it's it means that like one morning you're going to go and do something somewhere to make sure that someone is where you need them to be in the afternoon. But that morning you're also going to have to probably kill someone,
one person at least,
to make sure that you're at least started your day, rather than forcing all 8 kills to be in the back 3 segments of the day.
And from everything, from all the freedom that opens up, I still imagine the way I'm seeing the way I'm still seeing these quests or these boss lining up with the visionaries. It is quite linear in the sense that the game is telling you which quest you need to do that. It's not an open world that you go,
that's
right.
That's the genius thing.
Yeah,
that's the genius thing about it. It's like, it's so many games in one. It's a time loop, like exploration, do whatever you want, wherever you want style game, but it's actually really linear, because it's constantly just I've never had a wasted loop. I've never gone into a space and gone like, oh, I haven't accomplished anything. Like, I'm always pushing the narrative forward.
It's intimidating at the start, because you think it's going to be, okay, now you work it all out. It's like, no, it gives you a mission that says, go and meet this visionary,
the
kill
first
them,
10
get
hours,
their power.
It guides you. You just go, okay, I can see that, you do get rewarded for exploring, you should absolutely go, I've got a checkpoint over there, but I might also check out this building and this building and this building while I'm in this zone. I've got 3 lives per instance
per day,
per time.
Per time zone. Yeah,
per time zone. So I may as well take a couple of risks and maybe die once or twice and then do the exit. I'll go and mainline the key objective, and then I'll spend the rest of my lives doing this before I exit and reset my lives. Part of the beauty of this game, which I'm really enjoying at the moment, and I worry will tail off pretty hard, is the idea of the invasion, which is another massive part of this game, is that another player can play as Juliana, one of the other major characters in the game, invade and try and interrupt your progress. That can be killing you, that can be killing the visionaries that you're trying to get information from. They're just a disruptor, and it's this really brilliant, it's the invasion of a Souls game.
Oh, it's so tense.
It's it's just a really cool.
Does the AI do it?
To it?
Because it does it at the start as AI, and then it represents it as this can be.
I've never had another AI invade after.
Right, so the AI doesn't sporadically do it in place of a human. It is a mechanic.
You can turn off multiplayer, and it will just be AI. But it is because the other thing about it is that because it's not a first person shooter, it's an immersive sim, and that's it's like baby's first immersive sim. I think it's a game that will get people into immersive sims. More so than if you went and played Prey or something, which is I actually think far more intimidating than this. I think the way that this guides you through everything so easily is actually very accessible in terms of I never really felt lost with it. But I just wanted to say on the Juliana thing, there are corpse runs that basically, if you lose all your lives in one time zone, then you lose everything that you've picked up over the course of that run. So you lose your guns, you lose your powers that you acquired on that run, and you lose the sort of upgrade currency called residium. And between runs, you get this residium, whatever.
Residium.
Yeah. And then you use that to infuse gear and powers that you find, and it basically then keeps them. When the day resets, you start with all those things as options in your loadout. Whereas if you don't infuse them, then you lose them. So there are so many times where, and I don't know if the game does, I've never walked into an area and had Juliana invade in the first 5 minutes. I'm always in there.
It's always straight away for me.
Oh, is it? Really? That's so funny.
Oh, sometimes it's a bit later, but it's it tends to be I walk out of the thing and I get invaded.
That's so funny because I'm deep in a bunker, 3/4 of the way through my run. I've just killed the boss that I'm trying to get, and I've stolen their power, but I've lost 2 lives while I'm there. So I'm down to next time I die I lose everything. I lose the power that I picked up from killing the boss. I lose the cool gun that I got from the boss and whatever. And now I'm starting to make my way back out. And then it's the sirens go off. Juliana has invaded. And then I'm there's someone else here who, if they kill me now, I will lose everything that I have worked to accomplish. I won't lose the knowledge. Colt will still remember everything that he did, so it's not it's a total loss. But I get so tense, it is creeping around and just it's
is it always other players that are the Julianas in this situation, or is it AI Juliana?
We were just saying there is AI as the first one, but unless you turn it off, you can choose to be to not let players invade you.
And then will you just get invaded by AI Juliana again?
Yeah, I assume the mechanic has to still exist because it's part of the story as well. So it would be AI, I assume.
Yeah, totally.
I feel I'm going to let a human do it once on stream, and then I'm going to turn it off just so I get through the game. Otherwise,
humans are way harder than the AI in the game, because the AI in the game is extremely stupid.
If you are a Juliana invading someone else, is there any incentive to do that? Do you get anything for successfully invading?
You rank up, so the top menu is do the normal story or do Juliana invasions. It's they're treating it as half the game in that sense. It's none of the story really, but it is a big part of the game. You have a different rank, you have different gear that you can keep and bring into new invasions. So I believe it's based on, there must be some kind of matchmaking built into that based on the rank of the Juliana, bringing in higher tier stuff, because I've done it quite a few times and I'm level like 6 or 8 or something in that. So I've done it like 4 or 5 times, gone in and killed the cult that was in there.
Yeah, nice.
And you have to kill them 3 times as Juliana because they have, well, unless they've already died a couple of times, but you need to kill them and reset their day if that's what you're playing for. So it's fun. You set little traps and you like, the chat is going like save some for Game Club.
Game Club,
stream, and we absolutely will. Like obviously,
there's a lot in this game.
Into spoilers,
But like, and none of this is actually like story stuff or like it's really just like the first 3 hours of like explaining how it works. But I'm so in love with this. I just think the flow of the game is so good. I'm never not doing something. I'm never not achieving something. Even when I die, I've never had a day over day. Like I've managed to always make it through everything because the AI is pretty, I wouldn't say stupid, but very like lenient and forgetful.
I would say it's I find it like that's my biggest issue with the game. I think they're damaging the fun of it by how bad it is. It's like they're not fun to engage with. They're easy to just run right past. They're like the shooting is good, but they're not. Like I don't know, there's just it's really lacking because like you're right, it's not a shooter, but it is a shooter. I'm running around with guns and I want it to feel good and combat to feel good, but there's no. It doesn't feel like combat. It feels like
I don't know, like
cardboard.
I guess I mean I totally take that point, and maybe they could jack it up. I mean, for us at least, like jack it up a little bit. I think Steph's right that there is no difficulty options, and so therefore, like they are trying to find a really fine line on this of like how accessible can we make it while not turning everybody off. But I do think if it was too much harder, I would get frustrated because there is this level of like I need to go through these days multiple times, and if I feel and I reckon that they did so much testing.
I 100% agree with that.
I people feeling like they lost too many runs to.
It's not about hard.
Killed.
It's about being believable things. They just
I don't mind that.
They're not
like,
characters.
It's such a weird character.
It's like they're so uninteresting.
Eternalist.
They look cool. They look cool, sure, but they're just big rubber dummies. Like
but I was running.
There's nothing about them that is interesting to engage. To me, it's not even fun to just like mow down a million of them. It's it's just too uninteresting.
I don't know. I enjoyed that they are all these kind of like weird, masked up, drunk, Bioshocky kind of fodder that does feel in part like what's there. The thing I found interesting difficulty-wise that I was saying before is I really like the health system in the sense that I played this for a little bit. Maybe this is how I've been playing shooters. Kind of thinking I had rebounding health, and then I was realizing I was sitting in a corner with no health going, shit, I need to go and find like those little vials or the recharge station. And I like that it had a bit of a Dark Souls-y vibe there where I was kind of like, I could play gung-ho and run through, and I was going to take a few hits left and right and be like, oh shit, I can't run through the next section. I need to stealth to get health. And then
so much health though.
There is. I've played such little of it compared to you, so it's like maybe that's
the biggest dampener on it for me, but it's so not really a problem because you're right, it's not really what the game is about. It just like whenever I think about combat, it's just a little unsatisfying to think about it.
I think that it does. I think for me it's like because when I'd say we're probably halfway through the game and like there is I'm already like half a superhero at least, if not 3/4 of a superhero. Like I've upgraded some of my slabs, which are like the powers multiple times. So they have alternate abilities and extra whatever. So I go into levels and I can just go like, I can either stealth my way around and clear everybody out, or I could just go and just like Spider-Man my way across the level and achieve the thing and then Spider-Man my way back. And that, for me, that works because I'm like, I don't want to be stuck here for 50 minutes every time I need to do something. I think
it's not. I don't know what the solution. I don't know that there is a solution. It's just like it just doesn't feel good to me. But it's like, but I know what it's because it's a puzzle game, not really designed.
But the combat was sold as a
anything.
big strong point in some of those early trailers. I was like, whoa, this looks like a really satisfying, like hefty.
Well, it's why the Juliana thing is so important, right? Because they come in and they have a brain, they set traps. It's interesting. It's dynamic. And that's why it's really, really important. And it's why I'm worried that after a month, once this game kind of drops off, like a huge player base, it's gonna lose that.
You're gonna get AI Juliana,
that extra spice, baby.
Slightly harder.
Can you wipe out all the enemies in an area at a time? Or is there kind of a okay, right? There's
like
infinite respawn,
you can empty a map.
Yeah. And that's how when I was at your place, or like where you're heading to, Gus, where like the rains are coming off, that's how I played for like the next few hours, was like basically clear it out and then wander around and find the things that I need to. I did the final thing with your thing, Pete, where you're like, I wish they felt like believable characters, whatever. I did see a thing of like how it actually kind of works because all these people know they're in a time loop and they're just like, all right, whatever the fuck, like I'm gonna die. Like there are people who
dialogue is hilarious.
Yeah, there are so many funny scenes where like people are like wanting to die and like just to have something fun to do and
they're all jumping off a building or something. I heard people going jump, and I was like, okay, I'm not going over there.
There's so many good bits.
There's
like
beautiful
that.
detail all through.
And I'm getting reminded because it's the fun thing about time loops games are trying to reset your head to be like, oh yeah, this is a time loop. Because I ran into a character interaction right at the start where someone runs up and they're like, this building's on fire, what do we do? And the other guy's like, it's a time loop, it'll be fine tomorrow. And he's like, oh yeah. It was like I went through the same realization that character went through. I'm behind some cover being like, oh yeah. It was just like, yeah, it was cool.
But yeah, obviously we will talk much more about this in the game club. But I for my money, like I think it's game of the year. I think it is Arcane's master work. Like Dishonored never scratched the itch for me that this does. Dishonored felt like I got punished when I didn't play the game the way that the game wanted me to play it. Whereas this is like, you can go stealth, but you can also go action. Like, action is a completely viable way to do this. You can go stealth and action. Like, that's fine. You can choose to not engage with everything or engage with everything. Yeah. And so it just has so many ideas. It has so much personality. The voice acting is phenomenal. The performances are phenomenal. I love everything that it's doing. And I just love games where they've gone like, you kind of haven't seen this before. We've smashed a few things together here, and the source really worked. Hades did that like last year, and I'm getting real Hades vibes from this of going like, I think that this game is going to get a lot of people into a genre of games that they normally don't play because of how this one goes down so smooth, at least in my opinion. So yeah.
But on that word smooth, not so smooth on PC. Just like a couple of really annoying niggly things.
Oh yeah, and I had one hard
freeze
crash
ups on PlayStation.
I've had hard crashes with turn off the like any like ray trace modes and stuff.
Wasn't
like,
on it. I was on performance.
In advancing, you can't do it on console. Yeah, you can't do it on console.
You can turn off the ray tracing, or you can choose performance mode. There's performance ray tracing and slightly better. There's a middle, and on the smoothest one that was frame rate priority, we had like 3 big chunk ups that I was like, I think I have to turn it off. I had one where I got stuck in a menu, so hopefully, they patch that up soon.
I'm hoping it's patch fixes because it's some people had far worse kind of jitter and stutter with frame rates and stuff than I've had with the game on PC. But I did like turn some settings on that I had to turn back off because it was like it would just crash when I opened up like part of the menu, like literally just in a menu. But it was like, here's this like thing that explodes apart and comes back together, and it's got light bouncing off it. And it was like the game just hard crashes when you got certain things on. And then and the other thing about playing on PC is that the game is built to be played with a controller, and they didn't do anything about the UI to make it feel good with a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, there's some weird radial menus that just does not work. Yeah,
it just shits me to no end, and like and I still adore the game even with all these things. Like I run up to a door, and then you have to like try and move the cursor up, but it's move the cursor as though it's a stick. And then it'll just lose its position, and you're like, well, now I don't have a cursor on screen. I can't click anything. I'm just trying to find. It's chaos, but
it is. But it's funny. It feels better for me on mouse and keyboard than I started with controller, and then I moved to mouse and keyboard because I was like, I just feel like there's something about the aiming with the controller that didn't work for me. But yeah, the frame rate sometimes. I did have one where it was jittering really hard, and then it froze and hard crashed, and I like lost everything. I was like, oh, that's so annoying. Thankfully, I knew what I was doing, so then I boom go through. But then like half an hour later, it starts doing it again, and I'm like, oh, this sucks. And then I get a Juliana invasion. I'm like, God damn it. Okay, I need to go unlock the thing. I need to hack the thing to unlock the doors and then get out of the level. But then I had my blink ability, and blink is like a little teleport thing. And I was like, every time I use this, I just feel like I'm tempting fate with another crash, because it's like blink always in a game, to me, blink always feels like an ability where the game's like, please don't do this too much because we have to render a lot. And I was just like, blink, 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 and the game's going. Oh god. Anyway, Deathloop, fucking Gus will get there. Steph may not.
Yeah.
Pete thinks it's really good. I think it's just fucking phenomenal. So it should be a good.
It's not
discussion
backpedaling to say that I enjoyed everything I was doing. It was just the clunkiness of the way that which those first few hours have to go through that, and I'm really glad that I'm.
You're into smooth sailing now.
And smooth sailing apart from the freezing.
Yes.
Groovy.
What else you been playing, Gus?
So that was just last night. The game I was playing earlier this week that I had a really great time with. Obviously, for anyone who caught the show last week, we interviewed Johnny Galvatron, the Melbourne-based developer who created The Artful Escape, which came out last week. So I settled in with a full bottle of wine, and I burned through this in one sitting, and I had a fucking great time. I had a delightful time.
Language.
It deserved that, Peter. That's why I'm being a little saucy. This was a great 1 to 2 session game. It is a delight in terms of. I'm gonna come to the visuals in a second because that's all I want to talk about. But in terms of just like a very straightforward story that, or a straightforward experience, I guess, it was a really enjoyable kind of like. Linear experience. The game is obviously centers around this character who you play, who is kind of in the shadow of his uncle who's passed away, who we see here, a very Bob Dylan, a young Dylan-esque kind of folk singer. And you are a folk singer as well. You're about to play a big concert that night. Everyone is essentially kind of like, you're going to be your uncle, and you're having a crisis of personality of who you are as a musician. And you want to be this kind of like rock 80s, sort of like David Bowie-esque character. And so
it's like a total rip on Jacob Dylan. Like that's 100% who this character is based on.
Is that the one, the film?
The Wallflowers. No. The lead singer of the Wallflowers. You know the Wallflowers?
Maybe.
They had that one song. What was the one Wallflower? Everyone knows the song. And that guy is Bob Dylan's nephew. One headlight. Right. One headlight.
I'll have to have a listen afterwards. But yeah, it's clearly like... Sorry,
What's the chorus?
Hang on, I'm trying...
He doesn't know it.
Lost my only friends. Let me get to the chorus.
Yeah.
One headlight. One headlight.
Ever to be something better than be in the middle.
Oh,
together we can take it. That's the one.
In the middle. There's a scene from a movie where people are doing exactly this.
Yeah. Oh, okay, right. Crazy.
There is a scene from the movie of people singing that song the exact same way, where no one knows the lyrics, and then they get to in the middle.
They're all singing different songs, says Nano Sheens. I don't recognize it.
You all know that song. Everyone knows the song, I guarantee it. Yeah,
I had no idea. I know that was the very similar storyline. And so what you're seeing here is just the beginning where you move through this town called Calypso, and there's the expectation is on you. And from there, it kind of rockets off. Essentially, you are visited in the night by an alien who takes you, introduces you to this cool kind of like rock funk.
The parallels with reality are insane.
Yeah, exactly.
Wallflowers went to space.
They did.
It's fantastic. It just kind of rockets off and never stops getting weirder and weirder and weirder. It goes very Hitchhiker's Guide in terms of like you find yourself as this sort of rocket man who's playing alongside. You play in this like atomic lung, which is a giant ship shaped like a lung. The writing's really good. The voice acting is fantastic. The voice actor of the main character, I don't recognize him. He's from some like basic table stuff, but he's really, really good. And it's just great in the sense that it didn't have any puzzle solving. It didn't have any like fail states. It's just essentially like you push through these dialogue choices. It's all really funny. The music, the visuals is amazing. In terms of gameplay, I think it's good that it was the duration it was, because there isn't really that much outside. Like these dialogue choices don't really change anything. They're all like just variations of interesting lines. And after talking to Johnny, they're all very witty, weird, strange, whatever. They're just variations on that, and they're all fun to pick from. Essentially, what the game boils down to is you need to travel across a few of these planets, and you're being broadcast as a sort of follow-up act to the main character of the game, and you're like finding your way across the universe and letting the world know how much of an amazing musician you are. So these levels or these worlds you travel to and teleport to, you run across these amazing visual landscapes, and as you move across them, you can either listen to like this beautiful backing music, or you can press a button to just jam along in front of it and play like a lead guitar over the top of it.
It's known as wailing.
Wailing, thank you. That is what they refer to it in the game. I forgot that. And you just wail over the top of it, which is great. However, by about the fourth world, even as a fan of this style of music, you're kind of like, I stopped playing to listen to like the really deep, rich kind of like backing music that like filled every world. And I just little sprinkles of it occasionally when there was a cool moment for it. There's like a double jump with an extra kind of like jammy flair that, as you can see, like lights up the world and never stops being satisfying as a visual.
So you don't have to play guitar for this stuff to appear. You just need to walk?
For it to. I think you do for that one bridge, but as a gameplay element, the rest of it is pretty much just run through this area, and you can choose not to wail if you want to. Nice. You do run into creatures, occasionally these little stopping points, where you will take on the main part of the gameplay, which is essentially a little guitar hero, kind of more like Simon Says. It's like a 5-button prompt that you map to your controller, and you will press buttons in sequence to follow along with someone. Now, here's the really cool thing. The best thing about the game I found is when you get to these moments, the first one is you jamming with Lightman, who's the Carl Weathers character, who's this kind of like old soul rock guy who you're following into space. It sets up as a way that basically you'll see this symbol on everything that is these 5 buttons laid out, and they are the same in the way they're laid out on your controller. And the way it starts is that he'll start playing the chords, so you see the patterns play, and then you follow the same buttons. And as it begins, he plays a chord, you press a button to follow. And then that continues. But it's not like Guitar Hero or Simon Says in the way that... Simon Says in the way that it goes like, here's the sequence, now copy the sequence. Because you can play at any time to try and keep up with the pattern that's there. And so what happens is that...
So you join in with the pattern? Is that what you mean?
Essentially, you join in with the pattern.
Like
so
you play with him.
As it starts, as the pattern happens, you start like hitting directly after you see each prompt. So you're just a little bit behind it. But what the game does is the game starts to push the music forward. So at the start, you hear him play a chord and you're playing behind it. And then as you get quicker and you start to play in time, the music starts to fall in sync. So in the middle, you're almost pressing it just as you're hearing it. But the guitar the guitar that he's playing has actually dropped back a little bit, so it's almost in time with you. And then at the end, they almost wait for you to press the button for you both to play. So essentially, It starts like you're learning to play, and then you slowly fall in sync. And by the last chords, the two, you, the boss, this other guy, when I say boss, like the creature you're jamming with, are in perfect sync, and these power chords are belting out, and there's like fireworks going off, and it feels... I haven't had that feeling since Guitar Hero that you're like, I'm playing these chords in time with him, and it's fucking awesome. Yeah.
Does it create scenarios where everything you do just sounds awesome, or could you play like really dissonant, ugly chords if you... Right.
So in that sense, that's where you're following someone, so it is a preset song. There are there are a handful of moments as well where the
game doesn't let you make ugly sounds.
No, and then there are a handful of moments later on in the game where there's another amazing spectacle where it just goes like you see those symbols and you can press them in any order whatsoever and for as much sustain or as little, and they will be in tone with how this song is naturally flowing to this cutscene. So that's even more freeform, and that is even more like... You're like, yeah, I'm going to hold that note and then I'm going to let go for a second and then bam, I'm going to hit that note as something else happens. And it's just like, yeah, that's the one where you definitely can't even mess up one note. Everything sounds fucking awesome. And you're just like, it happens when you're on top of a giant flying ship through a huge beige sandstorm as like you're getting attacked by these like fashionistas who are like, you can't rock as hard as you rock. And you're like, I fucking can. This was awesome. And then the last thing I'll just add to this, because I really think everyone should play this. It's on Game Pass. It's like, as I said, it's maybe like
4 hours?
3-4 hours. It never really gets too... It's so just like rockets on the whole way. It never like backtracks too hard. There's not... Any little story section that you want to talk to characters is pretty brief and fun. So it's like, you have a few chats, you're on your way kind of thing. The only other thing it does, which is really cool, is it lets you pick your outfit and your kind of alter ego, and you choose your name, which is represented by characters every time they say your name. It's just power chords as audio suddenly when they go because they can't have your name.
Nice.
You choose a prefix to your name. So I was the glamorous Goose Mangus. And so every person who saw me was like, alliteration had to go into this one for me. And then you also choose a backstory at one point. You like you make up a story to an alien that's voiced by Mark Strong that's kind of like, is it Beelzebub, whatever, from Hitchhiker's Guide. He's this crazy over-the-top character, and you make up this story, and I like led the galactic symphony into battle. So it just so happened that there was another G in there. So I was the glamorous Goose Mangus who led the galactic infantry or something, and I was just like, every character said that when I turned up into a room. And I also, you go through an 80s mall at one point and you basically build your outfit. And so by the end of it, I was just this fucking rad character, and everyone just called me the glamorous Goose Mangus. And I was like, it just felt very personal, like more so than picking a hair color and a suit or whatever. Like you just felt, and I hope everyone who does play it kind of changes
calls himself
up that
glamorous Goose Mangus.
Calls himself that as well. But yeah, it was great in that sense. And by the end of it, it had some cool, really lovely moments that were just like, I don't know, it didn't get bogged down. I guess the last thing I will actually say is that it spent the whole time being like, this happened. This fantastical journey happens in the world. It's not bogged down by some kind of like weird ambiguous morality of like, this was just a dream or he took some bad acid or something. It's like, no, this just happens in this world and you come back to the world bigger and better than ever. It's just like, I really appreciated that. It didn't feel like at any point, I don't think that's a spoiler. It's like, this is something fantastical that happens in this world. It's not just in his mind of how he shed his insecurities. It's like, nah, it's literal. And it was great because of that. And
such a...
How long was it?
Yeah, about 4 hours, I'd say. Yeah.
This is such a you game. And I mean, this is a compliment, and not in the way you complimented me earlier. But this is a game about little details that kind of don't mean a lot but add up to more than the sum of their parts. Like, you are so much about the little flourishes in everything that you do. Like, you like the little touches. Like, I feel like if we were a restaurant, the three of us would be cooks, and then you would be the one that comes in the end and sprinkles the truffle on the top. And you're like, this is the thing that ties it all together. And this is a game of just things that tie the whole thing together. I've played. I'm glad that I'm definitely going to continue, and I'm glad of everything that you said, because I've played the first like half hour of it, and I was yet to do anything or go to space, and I was like, oh, this is quite just sort of like a twee walking simulator at this point. I'm at the point where he got home to his house, and I figure I'm about to go to space, hopefully. Yeah,
that's the only area
I was like, oh god, this is taking a long time. This girl annoyed me. But yeah, anyway. So I'm glad it picks up.
It is strange that the game starts with you can go left and right, you can walk into and talk to everyone. It's like, it's kind of totally unnecessary, and the game never really returns to that, and I really enjoyed that. Maybe it's trying to set some mood up there of like who you were and who you... But I'm with you, I'm like, I want to go to space. I want to have this transformation experience. So, that is
cool.
maybe...
I'll definitely keep on then.
It's the slow start to a 4-hour game, so it's like, it does feel by that like a little bit longer than it should, but once you're through that, it's pretty cool. Again, just before we finish, this is essentially the symbols you're seeing everywhere, which is basically, here's on the forehead of the thing I'm under are my button presses, and then it always seems to turn up in different formations on ships on this alien's forehead, and you just jam along with it as you press those buttons in sequence and stuff. And the music is great. The music is bloody amazing, and I just was visually and audibly just in awe of it the whole way. The amount of depth and detail in these visuals is so good. It kind of feels like what Broken Age was going for with that kind of 3D, 2D world. But this is like 7 layers of parallaxing deep of detail as you move through these areas. And like some of the bigger set pieces, which I don't want to spoil, are just like, it is the best looking game this year, and maybe for the last couple of years in my books. Like, it is art style and polish. Mwah.
It's no Paradise Killer.
Yeah, no, thank God. But I would highly recommend it. It was heaps of fun and a good 4-hour bash.
Cool. Round us out with your third game.
Third one, keep it really brief. And the one thing I'll start with here is that I've been enjoying playing this game on my Switch, on the side of my bed, using my Bluetooth headphones, because the Switch just had an update the other day that allows it to use any Bluetooth headphones in it that they've been able to do since release. This is a launch Switch, and if you update your Switch, you can connect any Bluetooth headphones. It's madness, I tells you, that they've held that back as a software thing. So I've been playing with my Xbox wireless headset on my Switch, which is sacrilegious, and I've been playing WarioWare. Let it get it together. Let it happen was what I was going to say.
Let it let it happen as you push the pillow on his face.
I've never played a WarioWare game before. I'm really enjoying what I've experienced thus far in like the first 2-3 hours. The story is essentially Wario and all these little cartoon characters have made a video game. The video game goes wrong, you will get sucked into the game, and then Wario moves through all this corrupted code, meeting all his developer friends, which you're seeing here. Each one of them has a completely different move style. You recruit them, you then do a series of mini-games, which is set up like a series of chapters. You do 15 mini-games and a boss, you then collect that little person, and they become part of your roster, and you move on to the next area. Design is batshit. This is like a typical WarioWare. Everything you're seeing is just like crazy fast, crazy a mix of art styles and all that kind of stuff. And I really like it. And the thing I like actually is the solution they've found, which is WarioWare games have been on Wii U with motion controls. They've been on DSs with touchscreen controls. The Switch doesn't use any of that. It is essentially all these little characters that you're recruiting. Their movement style or their interaction is the thing that makes it different. Wario flies around with a jetpack and you press a button to boost, but there's a character who can't move and can only throw projectiles from his head. It sounds stupid in the sense that you're like, some are clearly better than others, but the way the story mode makes you have to use them in each of your little roster, it's a way of setting up challenge, I think, and letting you replay heaps of minigames, but with different challenges to them. So one minigame that was really easy as Wario will be really hard as another guy. So here's a little roster that you see there, and I actually really love how like dumb the story and everything you're seeing is. Like every little chapter is a weird excuse to go into this funny little cutscene. You'll meet this guy, he works out, but then he's being worked out by someone else. So the mini game is a series of extra weightlifting, and all the lives turn into weights. And every chapter, everything changes on a visual and audio level, and it's crazy. And as a first WarioWare game, I'm really enjoying it. I can see myself stopping in the next hour or two of playing because it just becomes fatiguing. Because it is a sensory overload, and not in the delightful bottle of wine way that The Artful Escape is. It's in a kind of like ADD TikTok style kind of freneticness. But yeah, in that sense, it's fun for little sessions to do like a chapter or two, unlock a character, and go from there. I would never go into any of the let's return and make my own minigame rosters and play them kind of thing. I've already started to repeat a few minigames, and I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see the sort of longevity of this crush down a bit. But yeah, otherwise, like it's a WarioWare game, and I think like the best version of one I'm going to play, because I'm never going to go back to those other ones. So if you were curious to try WarioWare, I think it's definitely not a bad. I've heard good things about it in that sense. I don't think people have said this is a bad version of it.
Cool.
If it would interest anyone else.
Yeah, not
I've
particularly.
never played one, and it's not really my kind of jam, but I'm glad you're liking it.
I just think it looks hideous. Like WarioWare, like it's like based around all these micro games, but I feel like, I don't know, when it had less color, it was less disturbing to look at how much it changed constantly.
Disturbing.
The best parts of it, design-wise, when you
so
play a
uncomfortable to look at.
It's when you play a minigame where you're plucking armpit hairs from the statue of David, and it has a Monty Python kind of mix of art styles, because it's like a photoreal thing, or you're doing face peel masks off actual photos of Japanese people. It's really like those ones that come out of nowhere, and they come so fast and like are gone. You're like, what the hell did I just do? And the best one is it's the woman who says the announcement before each minigame. Again, I don't know if you guys have ever like even seen the other games, but some of them are like push, and you'll go into the minigame and you have to very quickly look around and be like, right, there's a brick, I have to push that brick. That's what that is. And then she'll be like, pluck, and you're like, okay. And then it's like, keep him safe, and it's a pig, and there's suddenly like a butcher's knife swinging down. You're like, you jump in front of the butcher's knife. So those are the best, like that voice saying safe. That, and like that voice saying that, and the jumping into the minigame and having to very quickly use like work out what's there. It feels really shit when you think you worked it out and it wasn't. You were like, how was I meant to see what I was meant to do in like barely 2 seconds there? But I don't know, Pete. I think it actually, if you played like 15 minutes of it, you realize how messed up all the art style. Kind of like No More Heroes 2, whatever, or 3 that Nick you were talking about. It's like the first 15 to 30 minutes are just such a mishmash of art styles, of audio beats, of like characters popping in and out of nowhere. You're kind of like, I'm okay with this. It's just like an absolute trash fire of design.
Yeah, cool.
That's enough of that trash fire.
So that is Deathloop, Artful Escape, and WarriorWare. Peter, talk to me.
Oh, Steph's up, mate.
Steph, talk to me about what you've been playing.
I'm concerned about time. How are we going to be doing this segment the whole night? Oh my gosh. I picked a bad week to have lots of games to talk about, so I'll try and go through them quickly.
There's a lot to talk about tonight.
We're a video game talk show.
Yeah, this was taken into account, so don't take my speed, take a breath, and just talk normally.
I'm stressing. Okay, the first game that I played is called Dice Legacy, which is a dice-based, roguelike, medieval city builder.
Oh, another one?
Which sounds crazy, and it is, but it's a very specific kind of stressful enjoyment, I think, if you're a person who likes city builders and, would like to kind of enjoy a new spin on them. I actually really enjoyed it. It's very frustrating at the same time because I like the fact that, so many games are just built on RNG and that is the sort of dice rolls of early D&D, and this is kind of visualizing that in a very overt way. But the dice represent like the peasants or the populace of your city, and you need to roll the dice to be able to place dice on certain tasks in order to like make certain things happen. So you
roll
need
a standard die to get like a 6, and then you've got 6 workers working on a.
No,
what
so
are we looking at?
So
Are you rolling the peasants into their house? Is that what it is?
The die, and it's hard to explain. The die have different symbols on each side, right? So there's like a building one, there's like a machine one, there's like a growing food one. There is certain dice that you roll to like get more peasants, and so when
dice.
the breeding dice. So and there's a little sword for when you need to fight, incoming invaders and stuff like that. And so you need to kind of have those dice with the correct symbol for the thing that you want to achieve placed around the map to make anything happen. But each time you roll the dice to get, the symbols that you want, they take a durability hit, and you need to restore their durability with food that you have grown and produced. So you're constantly simultaneously.
Can I just so that we can all keep up with you, because there's more and more. What we're looking at right now is you've got down the bottom your full bank of dice that you own.
Yes.
They've got a number attached to them, so there's like a 10 sword sitting there. If you roll, it becomes a 9 or whatever.
That's their durability going down. Yeah.
Right. If you roll that again, it might roll to a harvesting thing, but it would be on 9, so it only have 9 durability in harvest. But you can then move that dice onto a hex or whatever, however this grid is laid out.
Yeah.
It requires that.
For example, if I have I've rolled my dice and I have like a bunch of harvesting symbols and a compass for exploration and a building one, but then I have dudes come invade my village. I don't have any swords, so I can roll the dice. They all my die take a durability hit. I still don't get a sword in a roll, so I roll them again. They take another durability hit, and then I'm like, my durability on some of my dice is low.
The roll is that little bottom left symbol. I don't think I haven't seen you hit it yet, but is that what you do to roll all of them at the bottom?
When they're dancing down the bottom, they're rolling.
Correct. They don't roll if you've got them out on the board, so you can place them and then just roll the die that are there.
Right.
Yeah. But then so when they get down to 0 durability, then you lose the dice altogether. So you need to constantly be kind of managing the durability while putting them out onto the board to kind of get things happening.
Yeah, right.
And then when winter hits, all of this stuff slows down. You can't produce any crops and your dice start to freeze. You can see there's little ice cube ones down here.
Okay, that's what's going on, right?
And there's certain things that you can eventually do to kind of unfreeze them. Some of the dice also get wounded when they're fighting, and so you need to have like a herbologist and an apothecary to be able to like heal them and all that kind of stuff. And all the while you're still trying to produce enough food to constantly keep restoring the durability of the dice so that you can keep progressing. And it's just like, it's very stressful. And my first game was very short because I was going really well, but then I just tried to push through a tough winter and I lost all of my dice.
Or your dice died. Yeah,
all my dice died. Yeah.
Nick.
What is the win state?
I
for snake eyes.
What are you working towards?
It's like it's a hex tile situation where you're kind of spreading out. You can go spread out further into the map and kind of explore new lands and stuff like that.
And you can get attacked. Can you attack, or it's like Clash of Clans and you look after your place and every now and then you get invaded?
You can, yes, you can attack and you can kind of take over other little areas and towns and stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah, I haven't played heaps of it yet, but in the few games that I played, I kind of learnt a little bit more each time, and I think it's a really odd but cool concept to place on this genre of game.
Totally.
In a Halo as well.
Dave, how do you get Yahtzee?
Is this on Game Pass?
I'm not sure.
You weren't playing it? Okay, right. Because it feels like
I had a Steam code. Yeah.
If I had an iPad, I would play this.
Yeah, I was like, I'd play this if it was on Game Pass to try to figure out what the hell you've been saying over the last 10 minutes.
No, I think it's cool. Like I
think it's cool as well. That's what I mean. Like I want to get my digits.
It's difficult to explain, but it was very well explained to me from the game itself. So
cool.
The way it teaches you the mechanics is great. Like
Winter has passed. Oh Christ!
Yeah, you can start growing wheat again, and then you've got different. You start to upgrade your dice as well to like. You get a school and stuff, and then they start getting smart, so they become citizens and not just peasants. And
yeah, cool.
And stuff like that. So I'm keen to kind of play a little bit more of it and
it's a cool spin on
see how it goes.
Just resource management.
It's really pretty. Yeah. I guess the only thing about like when I think about it's just a to me it's an odd marriage of ideas. Like I like playing SimCity because I want to build a beautiful, efficient system. And there's like natural disasters and stuff that get in the way every now and then. But it's like it's quite cathartic.
Well, it feels
relaxed.
feels like a board game.
This is not
like
relaxed. This is very stressful
at all. And then this is kind of like RTS-y in resource management and prioritizing what you build so you can expand quicker and defend yourself and attack. And and then it's just like, and then it's a board game, but you would never have a board game with this many dice because that would be a fucking pain in the ass.
I don't know. I think
how do you track the durability of a dice? Like it would just be.
You mean like an actual tabletop board game?
Sure, yeah. So it can only exist really here comfortably as a video game. So it's just interesting ideas coming together.
I think so too, and I think it's tapping into a lot of things people like in different kind of genres and meshing them in a way that actually works really well. And I think, but you have to be someone who wants to play this game for the challenge and the management. It's not like a sort of
it's no garden
soothing
sim.
It's no garden sim, that's for sure.
And it all takes place on the Halo ring. People were pointing out in the chat.
Yeah.
It's a cool perspective.
The other.
On full screen.
Yeah, no, I fucked that. Sorry. No one heard you, Steph. Go again.
Oh, sorry. I've been playing Life is Strange: True Colors. I really enjoyed the first Life is Strange, so I was excited to play this one. I also played the prequel game that came out as well, and I found that a little bit frustrating because what was cool about Life is Strange is it was a cool narrative story with a time manipulation mechanic that made the story really exciting to engage with because you could stop certain things from happening, or there was a causality element to it that was really cool. And the sequel, the prequel didn't have that. So I was really hoping that this like a sequel installment would be kind of more in line with the original game.
Is that the little
including
boy one, or the other one about the twins? The prequel one that you're talking about? Because
the
there was
prequel
one
one
with the
was
boy who like had the abusive father or something, wasn't there?
the prequel was a story that was focusing more on Chloe, and Max was the character that had the time manipulation mechanic.
The prequel was the sequel, though, right? Like, it was Life is Strange 2, but it was a prequel.
But it was a prequel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Life is Strange 2 is the brothers. Yeah, I don't think I played Life is Strange 2. I played Life is Strange, and then I played the prequel. I I didn't play the one with the brothers. But okay. So getting into this, it's a new developer as well that's doing this one. So I was really hoping that wouldn't send it off in a direction that was not kind of true to the series. And I am instantly drawn into this story. It's really, really cool. You play a girl who called Alex, who has been in the foster care system for most of her life, separated from her brother. That's him on the right. And her brother's been looking for her because after they got separated, they lost contact, and he's been trying to get in touch with her now that he's, an adult and wants to kind of reconnect with his sister. And he invites her to come to this stunning Colorado mountain town that is beautiful and full of very sexy people.
With minimum 2 jackets each, at least.
Oh my gosh. Everyone is just like rugged and handsome or beautiful and cool. And the town looks like Canada. And it's just like it's Colorado.
Everyone owns 2 record stores.
It's Colorado, but it's just like it's in, the main street is all beautiful stone with flowers, and then there's mountains just rising up all around you. It's beautiful. But the sort of X factor mechanic that this game brings is that she is kind of a sort of empath. So she feels and absorbs other people's emotions really intensely, and she struggles to control that. So if somebody is, sort of suffering from depression, she gets drawn into that sort of strong emotion, and it kind of brings her down with it. If somebody's experiencing a really overwhelming anger, then she kind of takes that into herself, and then she kind of, rages out and hits people or whatever. Like it's a thing that she struggles to control, and has contributed to her moving frequently through the foster system, and it has contributed to a lot of her kind of insecurities about coming here. It's just like, I don't know, there's some games that just kind of that present you with characters that you immediately gel with, and this one is one of those. I just really, I'm so invested in the story from the start, and I love the setting, and I love the way that they have dealt with the empathy stuff, and I'm really keen to see where it goes. They have also included a cool streaming mechanic where you can link your Twitch account with your Square Enix account, and it allows your Twitch audience to vote on some major
awesome
choices in the game, which is really cool. Unfortunately, the overlay had a blurb about the game which spoils one of the main things that happens in it.
Oh, no.
For people. It didn't spoil it for me, thankfully, because I wasn't looking at it, but that was just a really dumb thing. But
with the empathy stuff, does it present the same way every time? Like, is it like you've got someone's sad and you figure out how to make them happy, or is it like you can see different, like it sort of takes emotions as much as a broader spectrum than we're just trying to
Yeah, so she kind of it's almost like she kind of can see the auras of people and get a sense of their mood and what they're thinking in a kind of small way. But if they're feeling a very strong emotion, like a really intense anger because they're, G'd up about something, then she struggles to not let that overwhelm her. And then their anger becomes her anger, and she's kind of acting out of the same rage.
Yeah, cool.
And there are other situations based around fear or, sadness or whatever that she tries to kind of overcome it. But I guess that will be part of the story moving forward, is how she uses that to try and, move through things. We sort of stopped playing after this kind of major moment happened, and I have no idea where the story will go from here because I wasn't expecting that thing to happen, and now I'm very sad.
and I sort of said last week, I think when we were talking about this on the game plan, that I really want to like the Life is Strange series, but they often just move too slow for me. And part of that is the episodic release. This one, it's all out at once. But from a sort of like narrative plot flow, does it have that sort of lugubrious pace that the others have?
It does, in the sense that you can, I guess it depends on how much you want to engage with things, because it's one of those games where you can look at just about every object in the room and she'll just have a comment about it, and that's not something that is relevant to the story, but she'll be like, this guy likes comic books. Or she'll walk over there, she's like, these flowers look like they need water. Stuff like that is just inconsequential, but they're just all part of her internal monologue, and you can choose to interact with that stuff, or you can just, go past it like it's not a thing. But if you go through playing the game where you're just interacting with every single thing that the game gives you, then it does feel very slow paced, because you're just, you're hearing every kind of passing thought that she would have about everything that she looks at. But the stuff that's important is the information that she gets from the people around her, and how she kind of inserts herself into this new town and the people that are in it. And I feel like there's going to be maybe a bit of a love triangle situation going on as well, which we always like.
Good. In terms of like you say, you're connecting with the main character performance-wise, and other voice, like obviously it's all
voice acting is great. She's just really believable, and just I feel for her, and her experience feels real, and the writing is good. It's nice. The only critique I would have is that just everyone is just so good looking.
It's the worst. I mean, the sheriff, he's all right. It's fine.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. That's
I'd still bang him.
Yeah.
Cool. Life is Strange, Trick Ellis.
Yeah. And then the last thing I've been playing, I have been really enjoying getting back into, after I got back into Phasmophobia, these kind of, I would say, fun, slightly janky and inexpensive horror games that are sort of peppered throughout the Steam store. And I've just bought all of them.
Such a specific genre.
You went to the Blockbuster when they're getting rid of all the VHSs and you bought them all, didn't you? You were like, I'll take them all for a penny.
When you click on a game and it's just like, these are the games that are like this game. I bought all of those. And so the first one is Bigfoot. And I thought it would be terrible, but it's actually really fun and super scary. So you play, I think you can have up to 4 players, but I just played with Reese. And we played 2. I was playing a cryptozoologist who was looking for a Nobel Prize based on her research of Bigfoot. And
is this role play that you just put into the game? Or
No, it was in there. No, I had a whole German character prepared for myself, but then her name was Jessica, and she's American, so whatever. I guess I'm just Jessica. And so you have some, settings that you can kind of play with depending on how hard you want to make it for yourself. Bigfoot has a lot of health, so it's hard. It's hard.
Why is never been caught?
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So the objective is to try and, there's 4 missing teenagers, of course, who went into the forest for a wild time and never came back. And you have to try and find out what happened to them and kill Bigfoot. Those are your 2 kind of objectives.
This clip is just sped up.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of kind of loot to be scavenged. I say loot. Items to be scavenged in the world. There's kind of camps and cabins and stuff like that you will come across to be able to find health kits and different stuff. But the sound, there's at one point he came at us with a guitar and he was running towards us and you just see this bring, bring, bring.
Oh my God.
He's really scary. He usually attacks at night, but the sound design is really good. So you hear this like terrifying roar that reverberates through the forest and you know that he's hunting you. And then but then you don't hear anything for a bit. So you're like, all right, what's our game plan? What are we going to do next? Let's head this way. You're looking at your map. And then all of a sudden the ground starts to shake and he comes tearing through the forest towards you. And his eyes are red and it is so scary. And he does so much damage because he's so freaking huge. And we tried different things of setting up. traps and stuff like that, and trying to lure him to different places, but he always gets the jump on you, man, and when you go down, it's devastating.
Is your goal just to kill him, or is it can he die? Are you trying to find the teenagers? Sorry, I might have missed.
So you're trying to find out what happened to all 4 teenagers.
You're trying to rescue them, or just find out what information?
I'm pretty sure they're all dead.
Yeah, right.
you got to find their bodies. But there's also notes and phones and stuff, so you can kind of piece together where they went. Like you're trying to sort of follow a trail of information based on the phone that you find on the body of the first teenager or whatever.
You look for my daughter. I'm a zoologist, ma'am. They're probably dead.
yeah. But it's just really, really well done in the way that it's super scary. And there's also just things that it really catches you out on. Like I was looking through a house and I came across a megaphone and I was like, that's weird. Like it's a weird item to have in here. And I just clicked on it. Because my understanding of a megaphone is that you hold it up to your mouth and you yell into it. So I didn't think that touching it, it has like a alarm button that triggered
siren,
when I pressed it. So that of course alerted the Bigfoot and he came.
Is just quickly on that, the fun thing about a lot of these budget games is that there's a limitation to how they can describe how the game plays, what your goal is, how it all works. And for things like Phasmophobia, and we've played it and you've played a lot of it, it's like there's a joy in kind of experimenting, as you can even see this guy trying all this stuff out.
Yep.
Is that fun still, or is that like a level of frustrating that is stuff pretty straightforward, or are you looking at things going, I don't know what this can of spray does or something
I think I think it's fun. It is fun to work that stuff out. We had fireworks because one of the biggest deterrents is you have a flare gun that you can fire at him, which kind of blinds him. And I tried exactly what this guy is doing with the traps up the ramp. And I had like a thing of petrol and
he's fabulous.
But then there was I found some gas canisters that I assumed you would just shoot them and they would explode, and they didn't. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but I'm sure we'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
There is also a mode where you can play as Bigfoot. So we tried that at one point. Where, I think Reese had kind of a sonar type thing that when he roared, he was able to kind of get a pinpoint of whereabouts I was roughly and hunt me down. So that was kind of a fun kind of experience. Also, the bummer with it is there's something it's slightly janky in the way that it looks, but it's almost like, I can't describe, I don't know what it is. It's almost like it was like a server issue or something like that. All of my my inputs were delayed. Like every time I tried to get my gun out or interact with things.
Yeah, right.
I would press it a few times to get it to work. There was a lot of kind of desyncing and characters popping, and then I would just kind of get disconnected maybe a bunch of times throughout the game. And it was super frustrating because I was enjoying it so much. Like it was so legitimately scary and I was having such a good time. It was so fun, but the game itself was just creating all these barriers for me that I don't know why they were there. And I don't know how to fix them, or if it's just bad, or I don't know.
Yeah.
So funny.
It's probably just one dude in a basement, right, building this thing.
Well, I was going to say, this is, Steph, you get the enjoyment out of these style of games currently that I have been getting for the longest time through all those janky survival games that are always trying to be really ambitious with their settings and all their item creation and stuff. And it's I'll be happy to look past heaps of flaws because at the core there's still something fun there. And it's at the same time.
I'm going to play it again. Oh my God, look at him. He's so scary.
He's pretty
because it's really fun. And it's a big enough environment with things to find in it that you do really want to kind of get to the end and piece together, what happened. And
just quickly, maybe it's a person's gameplay. Is the torch flickering every time he's there, or is that a battery thing?
The lights flicker when he comes. Yeah, it's just one of those kind of markers. Okay. It's just adding the stress. He comes pounding, and the lights flicker, and it's just.
Looks like he's at a rave all the time, and he's coming down. Oh, poor guy.
Cool. So it was really fun. I'm going to play it again, I think, because jank aside, it was just, I don't particularly enjoy single player horror games too much because of the stress. I don't handle stress well. I think that was obvious last night when we were playing Fortnite. But with other people, I find it really fun. Co-op stuff. And then the last thing I want to say really quickly is that to come down from the stress of the Fortnite stream, I jumped into a bit of puzz last night just to wind down.
Is that what we're calling it?
We're calling it a puzz.
Bit of puzz. That's what I said. I'm like, guys, you want a puzz? And everyone's like, let's puzz. Let's puzz. And I was talking to chat, and there was a hacker in jigsawpuzzles.io.
What?
Which I just find insane. Like,
Is this it now?
What do they do? What does a hacker do?
They've got some bot that just solves the puzzle really quickly.
Is that
like all of a sudden,
or is that I trained a robot? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, like all of a sudden, like 15 non-users poured into the game and then just completed the puzzle in under 15 seconds or whatever.
That's so funny.
I was just like,
kicks out of weird shit. Like,
I know,
So
and I was like,
why did you do this, Gus?
look at my face, look at my face.
Oh my god, the disappointment.
I was like, what the fuck? But it's also just like. Is nothing safe? Is nothing safe?
There's nothing sacred anymore. Even the classic puzz has been ruined.
I didn't even see Steph there. I was just watching the puzzle. I didn't realize this was you.
Just watching her face go.
Yeah. Because we barely started it. So then I was like, I wonder if I was like, let's go see. Somebody was like, he's invaded another puzzle. So then I was like, I want to talk to him because there's a little chat function down the side. So I was like, dude, come on. Like, how sad is your life that this is something that you want to spend ruining, like time ruining for people? And he was just like, yeah, I am sad. And I was like, I mean, do you want to talk about it? And he was like, sure, let's talk about it. I'm sad and I hate myself. And I was like, okay.
Oh my god, this is incredible.
And then he was like, look, you can try and solve this puzzle with the long noodles. Try and put them together. Ha 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 ha. It was just so yeah, that was dumb and weird and stupid and amazing. That was a thing that happened.
Your puzzles have been ruined.
My puzzles.
Someone's going to hire this person though. That's a good skills.
Yeah.
All right. So that was Dice Legacy, Life is Strange: True Colors, Bigfoot, and never played Puzz.io. I will go quite quickly. So there's two things here that are not even on the list. I played Fortnite, as Steph mentioned last night with Steph and Bajo. That was tons of fun. Fortnite, turns out, that's a fun game. It was, that was awesome and really good. I recommend checking it out. But I'm definitely going to jump into that again because I had way more fun than I was expecting to have playing Fortnite. The other thing that I tried before I talk about the actual thing, Pete, that you have footage for, is I did play 5 minutes of Skatebird. Before
I don't have footage for Skatebird.
No. I'm saying you don't have footage for
right,
it.
Yeah, cool.
But I played 5 minutes of Skatebird before we started the show. That's a fucking weird, janky skate game.
Is it shit?
It's hard to tell from 5 minutes, but it's like too real a skate physics to be instantly fun, but too filled with a sort of rotund bird to be a decent skater. So I don't know what we're serving, and it is a thing that I've heard about for years, and it's like, oh, I tell you what, this does feel like one of those games that should have just come out and surprised everybody.
I saw some gameplay and it looks really shit compared to how the trailers at least looked like they were having some fun lighting and textures. It looks really flat and really built in like baby's first game builder kind of thing.
Yeah, I literally played 5 minutes, so take huge truckloads of salt with the fact that I've put 5 minutes into this. But after that 5 minutes, I was like,
you want to season your bird?
I don't want to. I don't want to be in. Yeah, it's on Game Pass. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that was that. But then the third thing that we do have footage for is I did jump into the COD Vanguard beta at the beginning of the week. It starts again tomorrow and it opens up for PC in a couple of days as well. I have been a bit hesitant on this one, constantly talking about the fact that I don't like World War II. I love other wars. I just don't love World War II. Yeah. But this, I was pleasantly surprised, I think, with the way that this one plays. It feels a little bit faster than the last Modern Warfare. It's somewhere in between like Modern Warfare and Black Ops. The guns don't feel as shit as they did in Champion Hill. I think part of that is the fact that I had some good attachments, but also like apparently it is authentic to the time period, but most of them have like holographic scopes they didn't have them on most World War weapons. But
I was going to say, this is going to be like,
is
That's
like
a captain's holographic sight.
yeah, it's going to be like Battlefield 1, where it's like this stuff was being researched and tried on guns, but no one would use it practically because it didn't obviously make sense.
Yeah.
But for a game, if it it definitely makes more sense. So,
and it's so funny that like I was running around with just like iron sights for the like half of the first match, and I was like, oh god, like I just don't know if I'm gonna. And I was like, I'll just change loadout, see what else I got. And I changed to like one of the other default loadouts, and I pull up the gun, and it's just got this holographic scope. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then suddenly it was like, I'm enjoying this so much more now. So it feels really good. The two things that are like, okay, three quick things that are noticeably different. One, they've got this thing called what do they call? I think they call it game pace. I think it's game pace, but it's basically it boils down to how many people are on a map. So this is adjustable now, and it's like you can have 3v3 and then 6v6, or then like much higher play counts, but this applies to nearly every map. At least it does apply to the 3 that are in the beta. So the
How
thing
crazy
like,
is the snap toe on console with this game? It's
I'm always like,
insane.
Nick, you can talk
It's
slower
like half
because
the
the
screen.
footage is moving so fast. You're talking fast. It's making me like just can we slow down?
but so the game pace thing works as in like in COD, a lot of the times if you just want to like grind out levels to like go up the battle pass or whatever, unlock more attachments, then you go onto smaller maps because you're just going to get more kills because you're just all jammed in together. Sure. And so it meant that a lot of the player base is shuffling towards those smaller maps. So they basically went, okay, well, we'll just give you that option for all maps now. So you can have games where it's like way more people than there should be in a bigger map, which is which is interesting. Or you can have much less people and it feels more tactical. So it's more like you are sort of like doing more peeking and slow-paced gameplay.
Sorry, less people in a bigger map.
Less
so
people in a bigger map. Yeah.
Right,
So which is an interesting thing. The second thing is they've the normal hardpoint mode they've replaced in this one. It's like a moving hardpoint. Feels a bit like the sort of like Overwatch follow the push the bomb situation, but I actually really liked it. I don't really love hardpoint as a mode in normal COD. Oh, okay. Yeah, I feel like it just gets it's sort of like go here and hold it, and then go here and hold it, and then go here and hold it. Whereas this, because it's moving, it felt more like I think the thing with hardpoint is a lot of the time you can get people who like don't go to the hard point and hold it, and they just run around and try to get kills. Whereas the fact that it's moving across the map focuses people like your team in on the idea of like, oh, there's actually this objective that is just like making its way through the map that we need to follow, as opposed to just like run around anywhere and get kills, because everyone is focusing on that. It's a fun mode. Like it's a really, really fun mode to play. And then the third thing is that there's it's more a cosmetic thing. They sort of tout it as a bit of a gameplay thing, but I haven't seen too much of it. There's like destructibility in the levels of being able to like knock a hole in a wall and shoot through. They show that in the like multiplayer show off, and it might be more in some of the other maps. The one where it showed off the most was the hotel one, and did you slow the footage down? Yeah.
Thank Christ.
The hotel map is the one where which is this one, had the most destructibility because there's the most sort of just like wooden walls lying around everywhere. But what it did do is it did give the sense of like, you start off in most of the time in like a COD level, you start off in an area where it's like, oh, there's been a fight here, and now we're turning up and having another fight on top of this. Like everything's already been a bit ravaged. And we're just going to have another fight here because the fight already happened in the single player campaign, and we're just coming back here now. Whereas this is like, you turn up to a hotel and 8 minutes later, like, we fucked this place up. Left. Like it's kind of look around. There's just like everything's broken. There's splinters everywhere, and it does give a sense of like, oh my god, what, like, war is hell.
Well, there's Battlefield 1. I've been playing heaps. I forget that has that thing where like 40-minute matches on an objective. There was a town there at the start, and at the end it's just rubble, and you're like, we blew the town up.
Battlefield's so spectacular.
Yeah.
So I am having more fun than I was expecting to with the older style, so I'm looking forward to playing more of the beta as it unlocks this weekend. And then someone in the chat,
it might be the footage that was captured here, but it still looks like pretty desaturated. It's like, it's not brown like that other map, but it's like there's not a lot of color still.
Yeah, this map in particular, I saw it. There was a lot of talk online of people saying like this was their favorite map from a design, from a layout. It probably is, except for the fact that there's a fucking boat in the middle that I feel like really knocks over the flow of the main corridor. But it is like very boring. I like the hotel one personally because I like the ones that feel like they have personality rather than just like, oh, we're in a jungle or whatever. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if they do go, because Black Ops at least had the sort of 80s neon
Miami malls
personality stuff.
I slept on this,
but I'm just looking at like the palette. Like maybe this footage was captured in HDR or something and just is grey, but this is very grey. Like there's not a lot of contrast. There's not a lot of saturation in this footage. This is what the game looks like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like it is. It is.
I'm not talking about like design choices. I'm talking about like this looks like. No, you could put neon in this and it would look grey.
Yeah, right. No, in the same way that I find that Modern Warfare is very muddy to me. Like everything about it is just like it very much feels like one palette. This has that sense to it. I don't know. They only had 3 maps, so I think they're opening more up this beta weekend, hopefully. So we'll see. And I did just see in chat someone said, old mate Dave said, when I was talking about the hardpoint mode, is it sliding across the map, not switching places on rotation? Yes, for that control pointy one, it is sort of slow. It's a circle slowly moving that you stand in and hold as you go. And it sort of just moves around the map. Sorry, guys.
I slept on this beta. I was going to say, is it another weekend or are they rolling it out for a couple of weeks?
It is. The next couple of days is PlayStation 5 again. I was going to say,
like Champions Hill, is it all just PS5 exclusive as well?
No, so it's the 10th, the 13th was PlayStation 5, and then 16th and 17th. So starting tomorrow morning at like 3 a.m. for 2 days, it's Xbox and Battle.net early access, and then the 18th to the 20th, it's open beta for all platforms.
Cool.
Yeah,
I might jump into some this weekend, actually.
Yeah, check it out. I'd be keen to see what you think. All right, and Will Yates, round us out with what you've been playing this week.
I played something too, but let's get Will in.
Oh, sorry.
I forgot PT.
It's because I had you earlier in the thing. And
no, it's all good. It's all good. All
right, no time for Will then. Pete, tell us what have you been playing? No.
I'll be very quick and say I finished off, Lake, which I mentioned a few weeks ago, the beautiful little delivering post in a small town.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, nice.
It landed for me, like, really. Pardon? Lake.
Yeah, Lake. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
You're confused.
Lake?
Postal Service.
Yeah. But yeah, beautiful game, and there was actually a little bit of split ending as well, which I was surprised by. I thought it might just have one story to tell, but there is actually a bit of division, which is cool.
You dumped all the mail in the lake, didn't you?
I did. Oh, I found out if you want to get back, if anyone does want to play it, if you want to get back to the post office as quick as possible, you can drive your van into the lake. The only time the lake is ever important in the game. Drive your van into the lake.
And it respawns you.
It respawns straight at the mail depot.
Awesome.
So,
that's so against how that's meant to be like a lovely bridge narrative experience. And you're like, see you later.
I got 4 hours in and I'm like, can I crash the van? And I did. It worked. So
nice. The news around that in Australia has been that like the game got refused classification on console for drug use, but it just got
that's insane.
It just got cleared as R18 plus. You probably
it's insane.
You probably played through this moment, Will, but apparently the moment that got it caught up in refused classification and is still in there, but it's been cleared, is you get offered to like smoke a marijuana cigarette.
Yeah.
And you can choose to or not, but the fact that was in there got it refused classification.
Oh my god!
Just like unwind and have a toke.
So when we're here to ask you tonight, did you try the Mary Jane?
You might be surprised. My character was really wholesome and said no, but did partake in a wine. It had a wine. They had a wine, so you know.
Okay, good.
They still,
but nothing anymore.
They had a bottle and then did a delivery run.
Yeah.
That is
end of the lake.
That is. Did you hear what we were talking about with Deathloop? Did you hear me talk about COD? Like
Meredith is very wholesome.
Did you hear
Meredith is a lovely.
Nick talked about his incest games 2 weeks ago.
Feeding dice.
Meredith is very important, and she had to do deliveries in the morning, and I just couldn't. I didn't want to screw up my schedule.
Ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
The devil's lettuce.
It's pretty fun. You can find out a little bit about it.
Yeah, it is.
But I highly recommend it now that you can definitely get it. But
Pod?
Yeah. Super easy to get. I also played another game. A different game. This one, it actually came out last month, which I totally missed it. And it's a semi-sequel to My Friend Pedro, which is a game from 2019. And that game was brilliant. This is the mobile version of it. And it's kind of, as you can see there, a little bit of that age-old Angry Bird kind of slide to pick where you're going to end up. Tap on the screen to shoot. And it is like the perfect translation of it. I was really surprised by how perfectly it mimics the gameplay style and the rhythm of the original release. They're all new levels as well. It's not taking levels that have already been designed. It's new designed levels and slightly new story, I guess. It's the same kind of deal. Pedro the banana, his family's been taken. Different types of fruits, and you've got to rescue all the family. So definitely goes along with the visuals.
Are you tapping these things to shoot them, or do you need to aim? Like, do they just pop up when you got a line of sight?
Yeah, well, you kind of tap in the direction of them,
cool.
wherever they're kind of located. Which is kind of the biggest change, because in that you did have to kind of aim with mouse and keyboard. But yeah, it's super fun. It mimics the style. I will say it's free to play with advertisements in between every couple of chapters. And also, if you knock down all your lives, I think there's a timer until you can play again.
Yeah,
Gus, you
so
said
this
you...
is I loved the original of this, and I saw this as a super polished mobile game. I was like, yeah, great. And it was free. I was like, what's the catch? And yeah, for me, it was like, if you lose all three of those, if you take 3 hits in the bottom left there, you can't play the game for a serious chunk of time. It's it's not wait 2 minutes or something. It's like, it was something that was just totally, I don't know, it caught me unaware, and I was like, oh, no, bugger off. I think the game's like $4 or something. It's like, it should have just been a $4 game that's really good, and they should be like, that's what it is. So I don't know, I was a little peeved about that.
It is the reason I ended up with the $4. I didn't even get through the 3 lives. I just got through a couple of adverts, and I was like, yeah, I'd rather enjoy this game without the ads.
But you're right about the controls. It feels super perfect. Like, it's just
so good. And I think it's about 6 minutes in or so, there's a driving combat thing that was in the original game as well, which they've managed to put into this as well.
Yeah, right.
I think. There you go. Which it's got the same kind of idea.
Yes, that's cool.
This isn't driving. This is long jump.
yeah, totally. But it's super fun. It's like 2 hours or so. Like, I love this little mechanic, which I don't think was in the original game as well. It's like timed platforms, so you got to really think. And I think the other addition with this is that the slow timer is permanent. Like, you don't choose to do that. Whereas I think in the original it was kind of, you could rapid fire your way through a level without needing to use that. It's kind of built into the game. And yeah, super fun.
The other thing I think this art style is heaps better for this kind of game. The original is this weird kind of you're proportionately the right size of a human. And while there's a lot more that you can do that makes it super actiony and he does more spins and stuff, I didn't find the art style of this one particularly interesting.
It was the proportionally was the thing that just messed me up totally. Like that looks like me shooting people, and I'm like, there's just something wrong about that body size.
There's also the
doing
idea
things in levels that small.
The idea that, like, because they're not caricatures, the violence is a little more brutal. And from the beginning of this game, when I played the original, it's like, oh, he's kind of crazy, and he talks to the banana, and the banana's telling him to kill everyone. And that kind of made me a little uncomfortable. And it's like, under the guise of it being this weird, like, caricature bobblehead version of it, I'm like, and, there's zombies and stuff. I don't know, I found it a little less, just unsettling than the previous one, where it's like, it was dealing with it in a weird way, I just found. So this is definitely where they should have designed the first one, I reckon. It's cool.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's really cool.
Nice.
Cool.
So, yeah.
My friend Pedro, ripe for revenge.
It's very good.
Good name. Peter, I want you to close us out. I want you to close us out.
I am, I'll touch on briefly the fact that I'm top 11 Banjo-Kazooie speedrunner on speedrun.com.
Well done.
Oh my gosh.
This is huge.
Can I look at it now? Did you have to apply to have this added?
Yeah, I submitted it.
Don't ask too many questions, because the more questions you ask, the less impressive this story gets.
Ask him
I think
how
it's
many people
speedrun.com,
have
I don't
records.
remember.
Yeah, how many people have records on this, Pete?
11.
And
And the gap between
what's
10
number
and
10?
11 is quite significant. But
We're still very proud of you, Peter.
thank you very much. I started playing Banjo-Kazooie on Friday just to play something relaxing, and then someone was like, "You should play the whole thing and go for a speed run, and then it can be an official speed run." And I was like, "Yeah, right." Thinking it would take me like 6 hours. I think it took 7 hours and 40 minutes of in-game time. So we got through the whole thing, and then I'd done that, so I may as well go through the extra steps of submitting it to it as an official speedrun. Did that, it got approved a couple of days later, and here we are, sitting amongst Banjo-Kazooie royalty. But it's only on the category that I'm like even visible on, 11th of 11 on, is the Xbox version of the game, and not
Emulated.
doing a particularly not doing a particularly like common thing to do early in the game, which is like a glitch that gives you all your abilities right at the start. I didn't do that, and I 100%ed it, so I collected all the bits.
So you did it legit.
I did it legit.
I feel like that means you can be
in about 4 times the duration of the fastest time that has been done.
The most entertaining and engaged with your audience than any of the other ones, I'm sure.
Sure.
Or not?
I actually tried to
Watch
crane
it stream,
neck
you
the
tell
whole
me.
That's good. I'm proud of you.
But the new thing that I played this week is Lost in Random. EA's sneaky little sleeper. Wasn't sure what to expect from it from their little presser they did a couple of months back. It came out end of last week. I think Friday last week. Yeah,
Friday last week. Yeah.
And it's gorgeous. I'm about an hour and a bit in, and it has a beautiful art style. It's really charming. The writing is great, and it has some interesting systems in it. It's a very slow start.
Oh, yeah.
It takes like an hour of setup, but the setup I think was sweet enough for me to get through. It's not a brilliantly polished game. Like, it feels like a little like rough around the edges in parts, but the style of the game was just like, I'm in 100% like from the moment I see it. It's
I think the interesting thing about it is like the setup. It takes that long to get to like the actual gameplay. Like, it's not just like
not even playing anything. Yeah.
Drip feeds through. It kind of like just shoves story in your face for 45 minutes.
Yeah. Which again, I was okay to sit through. Sit through sounds bad, but because the writing was good, the voice performances were good, and it's so visually striking and really gels together. Yeah, this is my footage. I got the green switch second shot. The 11th best Banjo-Kazooie speed. And so it becomes, yes, there's a lot of setup. It's really cute. It's very much like classic fable fantasy children's story stuff. Your name is even. Your sister's name is odd. And when everyone turns 12... Was that not cute?
No, it was. It's just like Gus just going cute.
That's fucking
really
cute as.
Yeah, that just really made me laugh.
When children turn 12, it's got like it's a classic class war fable. Feels straight out of like European like tomes. You know, it's like at the age of 12, children are submitted to a dice roll from the Queen. The black dice will determine the fate of the child.
Oh yeah.
We're filthy oneers, and the people up in like six town are basically living like
it's a classic YA categories world. And there was a great SNL sketch about it where he was just like, I will not be categorized. And it was just like, you got to be over there with the like normals. You can't hang out with us and the speedrunners.
It's very much that. Is it PC only? No. I think it's on I think it's on everything.
I think it's on everything. I think it's on almost
It's
literally
definitely on
everything.
PS5 and like maybe only
it's
the
on
new
everything.
consoles.
It's on PlayStation,
Yeah, okay, cool.
Switch, Xbox, Windows.
Yeah. It's beautiful in widescreen. Yeah. So it sets up this really charming tale. There's like, I was captured here, which is very early in the game when you're walking down the stairs and interacting with these like these posters on the wall, like these pieces of art on the wall, and like everyone has like a little gag written about it. It said in the most dry British, well, not dry, like a fanciful kind of British narrator delivery. There's a narrator like overarching all the story, but you kind of set off on your adventure after about 15 minutes. And it's a lot of dialogue and a lot of walking. There's no jump button, which I found weird at first because it's like it feels like any 3D environment you should just be able to jump a little bit.
Especially when you're like a cute kid style
I'm always just
character.
spamming like spacebar.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it is like, and you haven't even gotten to what the actual gameplay is.
Yeah.
Like the majority, but for the first part, there's this like platforming thing of like getting out of town to escape into the world, and which is this, and because you don't have a jump button, it also has that thing of like you can't climb on a box unless it has a prompt to climb up on it, but you also can't climb off a box unless there's a prompt to jump off. So there's this puzzle where it's like you need to get over there, and I'm like, she should just jump off this box onto the ground but no, she has to run over here and jump off the box on this side, which is no different than the area here. And it is like, oh, that feels like. And I really do like this game once the actual gameplay starts, but it did feel like, oh, you've just like arbitrarily made this a puzzle as opposed to you have actually made an interesting thing to solve. You've just kind of gone, you can't go here, so what are you going to do now?
And you front loaded your game with probably the least interesting part of it compared to what the actual is it the combat or the like?
So I mean,
nope.
This isn't a particularly. I don't think this is ever going to be a super deep game.
Sure.
The combat stuff is interesting and it's like card based, and I'll hang on, let me bring up the next bit of footage. It's like you have a deck of cards. You meet this character called Dicey, which becomes your backpack, and then the combat is that you run around and shoot nodes off. You can't really damage baddies without activating cards, so you shoot the little nodes off the baddies. And then you can fill up Dicey, who then has the power to draw cards out of himself. And so this player's just chosen to draw a sword and can now attack with that sword. So basically it's like you need to farm the resource that lets you draw the cards, and then you throw the dice, and then you can choose how you want to approach it by picking the right card and playing that card. But it's not super deep. It's like some of them are 2 and they're strong. Some of them are 1 and they're like not as strong. You can choose when to heal. Healing is a card play as well. But it's pretty hard to get to take damage. Like it's all pretty slow and just really sweet. But the systems are fun. It's totally interesting. And again, the presentation of it the whole way through is really delightful. So it's like I'm just enjoying the experience of being on this very linear journey and having a more interesting thing to do than just spam attack on enemies. It's definitely like made that part of it more enjoyable than it would be had it not had this card system in it.
I wonder if it'll have that thing being an arena little fighter that like your Hand of Fates and stuff, where the combat can be pretty basic or slow, like you mentioned, and all they need is to just pile in more creatures, more enemies, different like ranged AoEs and everything, and just make it a shit fight. Like, is that how they're probably gonna
there's been rooms that have, because it is like, it is very much you enter an arena and these things activate and now you fight these things, clear the room, and then the room opens, like the next door opens so you can keep moving. So there's a bit of that. There's a bit of like, oh, there's heaps more mobs in here, so it's like crowd control stuff. But there's like, I've had one boss fight and it was like showing me that there's like the idea of these big telegraphing boss fights also exist, and they're going to be interesting to navigate. I'm sure they'll get more interesting than the first one you fight, which is just like a slow dude who, goes, I'm going to swing my hammer, swung my hammer, and you like dodge out of the way of that. So yeah, like all the systems feel really nice, and it feels like it's going to be a reasonably short, tight experience. So I'm looking forward to playing through it.
It also just has so much potential. Like there's so much gameplay potential in this system because it's pretty unique in terms of like it's not a card game. Like you activate these cards, but these cards then give you actual abilities that you use in real-time combat. So, and I think that at the moment, because we're both at the same spot, we've only unlocked 2 sides of Dicey. So you can only get 1 and 2 roll cards. So obviously you can get up to 6. So as we find more spots to put in him, then we get higher roll cards that will give us like better abilities and more options. So putting all those together,
you're collecting, there's shops to buy more cards that you might find appealing as well. Yeah,
and so just like the potential for how this system can become really layered is I think really interesting. So I saw some people in chat going like, "Oh, I liked the idea of this until it was a card game," and I'm like, "Well, it's not really a card game. You're basically playing spells. You're playing spells.
You're choosing items from your arsenal and then you get this like freeze time moment to plan out where you want to use that. But yeah, it's totally not Hearthstone. It's all of the combat is real time. You just get these moments to choose what piece of gear you want to use to fight in this current engagement.
I appreciate
it's really cool.
Already, like in the short amount of time you both played it, Nick's already been converted to call. Like, it's not I've unlocked 2 sides of the die. He's like, well, we've unlocked 2 sides of Dicey. I'm like, it's already this adorable companion.
He's cute.
He's so cute. He's
what a wild time for dice games.
What a wild time
it is in the Burns Benedictson household in particular. All right. Well, those are all the games that have ever been made. Thanks for sticking with us.
That was a solid 2 hour what we've been playing.
Sure was.
Put out so many fucking good games this week. Like, look at the Deathloop, Artful Escape, WarioWare, Dice Legacy, Life is Strange, True Colors, Bigfoot, COD Beta, and the Lost in
Banjo-Kazooie.
Like every one of those games, and not even the bullshit that we added, like hacked jigsaw puzzles and something about a bird on a skateboard. Any of these could have come out once a week, and My Friend Pedro could have come out like in any week and be the best game that came out that week. So yeah, this was a good week for games. It's also a good time, I think, to go to a break, and we'll be back right after this.
For what you did. Do not forget what you did.
Sam Funk choosing to go with the original mix. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
It's been 5 long years, and I think that we've forgotten that behind all of this madness, Peter's pushing all the buttons. We don't see him when it's coming, sometimes always never made it. Then it's back to the Blue Mountains, driving Stefan's got it cranked. It's a power he abuses, Russell's waiting for the drop, but old Jackman's never ready, he just wants it all to stop. He controls all of the assets, always changing out the gears, but don't ever be forgetting, it'll always be 5 years.
5 years for what you did. Do not forget what you did. What you did. 5 years for what you did. Do not forget what you did. Betrayal.
Look at that face.
No.
Meet Nathan Rohner, a mild-mannered game dev and VR enthusiast. But a freak jewel-severed foot accident has given him hot tub cars for feet and turned him into Rollerstar. By day, Nathan must deal with the ever-crushing burden of being a brilliant indie game developer. But when the evil Dr. Pocket decides to steal all his money and not make his custom Patreon commercial for 6 months, you must use Rollerstar's flowing locks of customer loyalty to smack that pocket back into place.
Patreon? More like Patreon.
And after a hard day of crowdfunding injustice, Rollerstar sloshes into the pants of his lovers with his sexy jewel jet hot tub feet. And when it comes to cruising for a feed, Rollerstar rolls right into the thick of it. Hungarian slop doesn't stand a chance with Rollerstar's high-powered hot tub boost, leaping over the Central European cuisine with ease. And don't worry, kids. he washes up real good. Rollerstar. Rollerstar comes with everything you see here, plus everything you don't, including billions of hot tub-borne diseases.
Dota dick, Dota dick, Dota dick, Dota dick, Dota dick, Dota dick from God. Dota dick, Dota dick, Dota dick, Dota dick, Dota dick, Dota dick, Dota dick.
Welcome back, all you Dota dicks. Thank you very much.
Doing the Dota dick dance.
Dota dick, Dota dick, Dota Dota.
Sticking around during the break. Big thank you there to Samfunk and Skirovik, and of course to Rollerstar for your continued patronage. God bless you all, each and every one of you. Thank you very much. If you want to become a patron and unlock such fine perks as getting commercials made or being... Can anyone? Yeah. No, you also need to join the Patreon to send word from a sponsor, do you? Is it any level?
It's any level now. We just opened
any
that
level
right
now.
up, baby.
Yeah, just join the Patreon. Yeah, and you can send in something about Dota Dicks as well.
Yeah.
So we would love to hear all about those. So thank you very much to you guys. Let's move on with the next part of the show. A little update we like to call Pocket League.
Oh, that's a definite one to do that to.
God damn. We should never
Let's
update
go.
this. We should never update this one. They get more and more complicated. We should keep that one the same all the time.
Yeah.
It's football
of course,
season.
We're checking in on Pocket League because, first of all, I should say the Pocket League is brought to you by Jepp. It's a Jepp thing. It's a Jepp thing.
It's a Jepp thing.
It's just a Jepp thing.
You wouldn't get it.
You know.
You wouldn't get it, Mum.
No.
You wouldn't get it.
No.
It's a Jepp thing.
Yeah. He bought a Jepp.
Sorry, mine was angry, angsty kid. Steph's was like some kind of like, I don't know, it was an ad that was like for a product that's like, it's a Jepp thing. I don't know, I was going to say like for a fizzy drink or like a new shampoo. That's kind of what I was getting vibes from.
I would say that was the vibe that I was channeling, so I'm glad you picked up on that, guys.
Yeah.
Who's the least
It's a
famous
Jepp thing.
Kardashian sister?
Uh,
It's not Kendall,
Geraldine.
it's the other one.
yeah, Geraldine.
Geraldine? You know, is she the one that put the Pepsi ad where she put the flower on the gun?
She didn't put the flower in the gun. She gave a Pepsi to a security guard. Or
she gave a Pepsi to a
Jepp Kardashian says
to like a
it.
crowd
Dave.
control person.
yeah.
She gave it to him. It's a Jepp thing.
It's a Jepp
Jepp
thing.
thing.
Okay, cool. Of course, we're checking in on Pocket League because there have been some updates, and that update is that Deathloop came out. Game of the year. And Deathloop, that is a good score for Angus. That is the second highest score on this board.
Equals
88%.
second highest.
We talked about it's been getting really positive reviews. I saw a lot of 90s, a lot of 100s, that kind of thing. But I think, the consensus was within that a lot of 80s, a couple of 75s and stuff. So this is how averages work, guys.
Because Gus was like, I think in his head he was like, I'm getting like a
straight
98 or something.
I thought I was. I genuinely thought I
and we
was.
were talking about this today. And I was like, okay, so Will, you just need to add the score. It's an 88. And Gus goes, what?
88?
88. It's only an 88.
But it wouldn't have helped you anyway, Gus.
If I got a 95
Nothing
and no
can
other
save
game,
that slight.
I would be 95, right? That's how this works.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated that because obviously I'm gonna win, but I'm frustrated that I didn't knock it out of the park with 5 games and that Horizon got pushed. Because I'm happy to win, but I wish I just like annihilated everyone. You know.
That's such a strange thing to say, that you're like, I wish I
should've
just
annihilated
won
everyone.
more, as opposed to, I wish it was like everyone had games that came out, but I still won. Like, you were like, I just wish I had more games and you had less games.
Yeah.
Nick, in the
That's how I feel.
comparison to fantasy sports, which is what we're essentially doing here, Did we not take into account the idea with the amount of delays that happen to video games that this is more about just who has a team, or like is this normal in fantasy sport that this many injuries happen?
Yes, totally. But in fantasy sports, you have players that sub in, and I specifically did not add that because I was like, I don't know how this is going to go for you guys. Like, I didn't want to put too much of a burden of like, we need to pick, and then this. I could already see Steph's eyes glaze over when I said, "Oh, we're going to do a fantasy draft," and she was just like, And so I was like, I don't want to add too much. Now she's won. 100% next year. We're making this like we're going deep.
Oh my gosh! Oh, for sure. No, I'm totally. Well, I mean,
do we get to keep? Do we get first dibs on the games that got pushed?
We could make it like a dynasty league where you inherit the game, like you keep.
You can have
players
open
from
roads
year to year. So you just basically, I'll keep it. Well, I'll tell you what, Hollow Knight could still fucking come out this year. It's not going to, but it still could. Because they haven't said anything. It could come out next week, and if it did, it would still be a massive smash. And then Steph would be genuinely in for a run for her money.
And to clarify, right,
the bed hard.
We're putting aggregate scores, game scores on our list, but it's the person that gets the most. But then they're just points for us, right? It's like the total of of those aggregates together. So guys, if you got 95, you would only have 95 points.
Yes.
Whereas Steph is going to have 4 games come out.
I like the idea of the
unless Jet gets a 2%.
I like the idea of the dynasty idea that we carry on these picks the whole way through, because I see myself in like 3 years turning to the bench mid-game and being, Sons of the Forest, you're up. And they're finally like, yes, run onto the field. So true.
No, this is, I have to say, Nick, this is like one of the coolest things you've ever come up with. And I had no idea that something that is...
You created fantasy football.
No, he's applied it to something like actually good.
Well, I'm glad. I've got plans for next year of like how to really flesh this out and make it really fun. But so it does look like Steph will probably run away with it, except unless there is a Hollow Knight Silk Song drop. Gus, what happened?
Sons of the Forest is rumored for a Halloween 2021 release.
Oh, love rumors.
Okay, yeah, cool.
So you'll get that and maybe Roller Champs, but Senua's not coming.
Senua's definitely delayed? Or no?
They don't even have
not delayed. There's no release date.
The last trailer was everyone in mocap
You're right, you two.
They haven't even started making the game yet.
I need to go give Senua a pep talk in the change room. Just Senua's saying, like, you're fine.
You're ready. You're fine. Just get out there. Just get out there.
I reckon Back for Blood and Halo Infinite are mid-80s, and I just lost Total Warhammer 3.
You know, if we actually did want to make it interesting, did want to make it interesting, and it does seem like a bit of an unfair thing to change midstream, but we would just work on averages, because then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many games came out. It's just you average it out.
No,
that's
sorry,
not the game.
But no.
That's
I'm just saying we wouldn't do that, but that would be a thing.
But what if we did?
Wouldn't it be an averages thing plus like a bonus and minus for having more games? Like you'd do an average plus like a perk for how many extra players you had on the field or like games you had in.
That's all very complicated. We're definitely just doing that, adding the points together, and Steph has won. But I like the idea of this is Gus. You going? I just need to go give Senua a pep talk and send her out. It's like you got to get out there. What will go out there?
Not born yet.
What will go out there is a woman in a green suit with ping pong balls stuck to her,
and then a guy in a Halo Infinite suit tackles her, and it's like, oh god, she wasn't ready.
Did you see they put Master Chief in the new Windows trailer?
Did they?
I know.
Yeah.
He shot.
He like shoots a banshee out of the sky and then just drives away in a water. It's weird, strange. But it's sick. It's cool that they're like embracing Master Chief as a mascot. It's just not like he's just not a mascot. He's a murder machine.
He's so ratchet. He's so generic looking as well. He just looks like what if I had to make up a soldier sounding for a video game in Law and Order SVU, I would make it look like Master Chief. The other update to Pocket League, which we can see here, is that unfortunately Total War Warhammer 3 has been delayed to 2022. Pete was hanging quite a lot of hopes on that. So the Skywalker Saga and Total Warhammer gonzo. And really, you should only be getting half points for Halo Infinite because it seems like they're only going to put out half the game this year. All right. Hey, look at that. That's a fun little Halo joke for everybody.
Do we play it out?
Wait. Before you play it out, can you bring it up again? Just one more time. The board. The next game on the list that's coming out is it Jeff Shaw or Back for Blood? It's one of those two.
Back for Blood's early October.
And Jet the Far Shore is coming out on the 5th of October. And
It'll
Back
be
for
Jet
Blood
first, I think.
is coming out on like the 14th or the 17th or something. The 12th. Yeah, cool. So it's Jet and then Back for Blood.
When is Halloween?
Cool.
I forgot about
October.
Back for Blood. There's all these games that I played a little taste of, and then I forgot about them. And like New World is going to come out.
New World comes out in 2 weeks, Steph. 2 weeks.
Oh my god, Back for Blood's going to come out. Not Battlefield though.
Not Battlefield. It's just not going to come out.
It's just not going to come out. Battlefield.
It's never going to come out.
It's just gonna. It's never going to come out.
R.I.P. Battlefield. But I'll tell you what pisses me off even more than game delays. It's this next segment.
Lights out! His first night in the joint, Andy Dufresne cost me 2 packs of cigarettes. He never made a sound.
He never made
And
a
the
sound.
So
And it goes on like this.
what? So what's the connection there? What's that?
Steph, it's fine.
That's a quote from the Penguin documentary that Morgan Freeman voiced.
Yeah. Andy Dufresne was the Emperor Penguin.
Emperor Penguin.
He never made a sound.
The
either.
Emperor of the Emperor Penguins.
That was played by Nicole Kidman in a mocap suit. Well, the guy
And she,
from Mad
and
Max
she tunneled her way out
directed
of the
it.
back of the...
That's why you were talking about
sound.
Shawshank Redemption earlier.
Yep.
Got it.
Which, of course, then leads to shish kebab.
But then what's that got to do with pet peeves?
Steph, we've learned the lesson to not try and
because
break
it's
up.
in jail. They're
Well,
in
I
jail.
want to know.
We've put them in jail.
You've put them in jail. Okay.
I wish I could spend just one day
that's
in
all
your
I
brain.
needed.
I wish
That's
I
all
could
I
spend
needed.
one day in your brain.
It'd be so
That's
quiet.
not obvious. That's not obvious. I'm sorry. Don't say that that's like an obvious leap that I should have made.
One day. I'm asking just for one day. The other person I'd like to spend one day in their brain is Nicrotex, who is proudly presenting the segment too. As is tradition, we take a tweet from Nicrotex, aka at Nick Belling on Twitter, and read it out. This one from I believe 2 weeks ago. 8 years ago, I placed a deposit on a device that can steam and fold clothes for you straight out of the dryer. 8 years I waited for this magical device. Today, I received an email from the company making that device. They've gone bankrupt.
No.
Good
Steams
stuff.
and folds?
Yeah, amazing.
So is that
straight
one of
out of
those-
the
You should buy
dryer? Straight out of the dryer.
That's crazy.
Because I've seen those plastic things that they use to fold t-shirts on. You like lay it on and you just do like 3 panels. You go flip, flap, flop, and then it's like a perfectly folded t-shirt. But is that a version of it that pumps steam in it as well?
It's for the best, Nicrotex, because you need to get onto the KonMari folding method. We talked about this last night when we were supposed to be playing Fortnite. I will teach you over Discord. It will change your life.
And I will buy you that
pretty
piece of
good.
plastic crap that flip, flap, flops does it yourself.
Wait, is it the thing?
It doesn't exist because they're bankrupt.
No,
Because
the Steam version is dead.
Oh, yeah, right.
The
But
crappy one.
The plastic thing is fine.
The piece of plastic one's fine.
I have seen something like this, and it looks like a printer. It's wild. I'm going to put this just in live chat,
you, like,
so
feed
that you
it
guys can check
through-
it out later. Yeah, it's very strange. It's very, very strange. I would never want this anywhere in my house ever.
See screen saying flip, flap, flop, which was a weird thing for you to say. It made sense, but you're definitely like referencing slip, slop, slap or something. No one flip, flap, flops their I don't know what. It makes sense.
Yeah. You flip the shirt down, you put the flaps in, and you flop it
You
into
push the flaps in, then you flop it over.
Holy
Yeah.
shit, this thing uses way too much power for what it is.
Look at it. It's ridiculous. I'm going to put a link in the chat as well so that everyone can enjoy that. Okay, cool. So Pocket Pet Peeves. What is Pocket Pet Peeves? As also tradition, I just read out the thing that I wrote when we first came up with this.
Weeks ago.
And then there's something else added at the bottom. So as a first thought, each of us come up with 2 times gaming pet peeves we're putting in game design prison. Each peeve is brought up, discussed where it is most egregious, and then an SFX cell door slamming shut is played. An image of the peeve comes up, GFX bars or something come down over the screen, and then we lock it away in game design prison forever or whatever. Can come back with more peeves over the year, and also if we want viewer submissions in there as well, we could do that, but maybe not. We'll see how it goes. It could be shit, but let's see. We've got to fill the show with something. Note to self: don't forget to bring a hammer at home when we start recording shit.
I was about to ask the hammer line.
She said we can do the hammer.
Yeah. Is he going to go for a traditional hardware hammer?
Got it.
Shit, he is.
Look at that. Look at that one. Look at that baby
that
hammer.
is-
Have you snapped the back off
Snapped.
Yeah, in Fury.
that?
Oh, what
You're
a strong
using it
boy.
wrong then.
Okay, so we each come up with a peeve. We then say that peeve, why we hate that peeve, where this peeve doesn't work for us, then we put it away, and hopefully everyone who designs video games is watching tonight, all 624 video game designers, and then it will never turn up again. So, Angus, start us off with a pet peeve. I'm hankering to sentence.
Your Honor, I would like to throw applying changes in menus into game design prison. What am I talking about? I'm of course talking about the fact that when you go into the settings of a video game and you change something in said menu, it then asks you, do you want to apply these changes? Now, I haven't thought about this enough to think, is there a reason that actually is there? I thought about it in the shower earlier today. I was like, I can't think of the reason that there are some games that you just press B or circle, or you just back out of the menu and the app, the settings are changed, versus the ones that when you do it, it either goes, hey, did you want to apply these settings? Or it goes, no, backing out doesn't apply the settings. You were meant to press another button to apply before you left a menu. That is the worst one. That's the one I hate the most. The one that asks you, I hate, but I thank that it asks me. I'm like, okay.
I thank that it asks me.
I thank it you for asking me. I'll allow it.
I hate it, but I thank it for asking. But I hate it.
The one that I can change it and confidently just back out of there and know that whatever it was that I changed, whether or not it was something that I would be able to notice, it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be a resolution where something changes or a graphic setting that all...
Yeah, because it makes sense for that, where it's just like, does this look shit? Do you want to keep it or
That's
no?
right. But I would see the resolution change and I'd be like, I saw something happened or I saw something that didn't. If it's something like I want to turn off a reticule or a subtitles or something like that, it should just happen. I don't get the... apply. Like, maybe this is a moment we can all just say why that might exist. Do we know? If not,
I think it's just because in case you switch something like you went in there to check something and then you back out and you didn't realize you accidentally hit the thumbstick.
That's your fault
and
for
something's
being in the
changed or
settings
something.
menu and haphazardly.
But I feel like I am kind of on your thing of like, it's like, are you sure you want to make this change that has it took you 6 button prompts to get here in the first place? Like, it's like I'm very deliberately here in the advanced graphic settings. Like,
I didn't stumble in here going, is this where I save my game? Oh dear. It's just, it drives me nuts. Cool. I hate it. I think it should go to jail. I hope we all do agree. He's gone to find something to hit.
He's gone to find something to hit.
It's a bit low because these kids are asleep.
Applying settings changes, hard time. I'm gonna say maybe 4 or 5 months because it really doesn't seem that bad, but still.
This is a petty segment. We know this is what this is.
This is a petty segment. Stephanie Ben Dixon, who are you locking up?
I can't remember if I have said this one before or not, but
done this once.
One of my major pet peeves in video games is particularly you'll see it in RPGs when they don't anywhere where you pick up and add gear to yourself, where they don't let you hide your helmet. For me, I really love the fantasy of video games, and I like putting myself in that world as much as possible. So I'm playing a fantasy version of me, like a hotter, taller fantasy version of me. So for me, hair is important. I like to see long elven locks or a cool punk mohawk or something cool like that. And when I pick up a helmet that is like got amazing stats on it, so I have to wear it, but it looks ugly and hides my beautiful hair, then I get really annoyed, and that's not my fantasy. So I like the option to hide the helmet. I don't care if it's impractical. In bloody Chivalry, they let you run into battle with a hidden helmet. So I feel like all games should be able to do it, and I hate when they don't let me. And it makes me very sad and angry.
There's a missed opportunity too, because the worst one is when you go in or out of a cutscene and the helmet flickers on or off, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's like there's a missed opportunity. Taking your helmet off, as we saw in the intro to this show, is a cool movement. Putting your helmet on is also badass. I know you're saying you don't want it there at all, but like, there's a missed opportunity to remove and add helmets organically.
No, there isn't, because
game.
Steph's character always has massive, like, long flowing locks,
helmet
and then it
comes
would
off.
be like, put it on and jam all the
Code
hair
that.
up.
All the hairing. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. I think of that.
But also, like you spend so much time like customizing your character, and then you force me to put it under some like metal bucket. Like, no, I want to see myself out in the world fighting monsters with a long ass ponytail flowing in the wind. That's what I want.
Still want those stats.
Still want those stats.
Still want those stats. Yeah.
Unhideable helmets, you're done. You're going away. It's just shared bunks and terrible meals for you for a very long time. I'll go one further and I'll say all armor, all gear. You should be able to hide whatever you want. You should be able to get rid of it all.
You should be nude in that mech suit.
I should be nude and unkillable. Like I should be in a tank, but it's Wonder Woman's car and it's just completely invisible. Peter Burns, what do you look at?
I'm looking up any game that has a puzzle that relies on a pathing NPC to be involved in any kind of way.
Yeah.
Where I know how to solve the puzzle, but I have to wait for his or her system to go like, oh, I'm going to walk up this path now. And it's like, that's what I needed to do this. A recent example was when I was playing the Big Con, which is like that traveling across the country, stealing money from people.
Oh, the 90s kid one, yep.
The 90s kid thing. Really cool game. There was a waiter pushing a cart up and down the train carriage, and in order to eavesdrop to get the information I needed to hide behind the cart.
Yeah.
And the cycle of that guy walking up and down the train felt like an hour, was probably only a 90-second loop. But when I know what I want to do and I miss it by a second, I have to wait 90 seconds and just sit there waiting, not touching anything. So it's like, oh my god.
So okay, that one's a puzzle one versus I was thinking, even though these are great games, of like your Uncharted 1 or something where it's like another character has to go, push that box for me. Okay, I got it. And then they go over to pull a switch and it's like, I get that it's puzzles in teams, but it's slow and you're like, hurry up, press the switch, run to the other side of the wall where I can't get to. Is that that's the same kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, like people are saying Fallout, Valhalla, anything where it's like you have done your part and you have to wait for the game to do its part for the puzzle to play out is just, why are you wasting my time like this?
Well, you're not going to be wasting time anymore. You're going to be doing time. Into prison with you, NPC puzzle pals. We don't want to hear any more from you. That's a good one. I like it. My first lockup, is going to be making me listen to your gibberish, Nintendo. I am sick of it's like Nintendo put out a style guide. It's like Nintendo put out a style guide of going, if you want to put a game on our platform, you need to just have like and then it slowly appears ... and it's either fake language that I'm having to button press through the entire time, or like, why are you putting your dialogue in only 2 rows every single time? So you just need to like be pressing through so much every single time. I have hated this for so long, and then as I said last week, my son has just suddenly gotten into Pokemon. So I bought him a Pokemon game, and he's sitting there on the Switch, and he's like, a couple of minutes and he's playing through and stuff, and then he starts to get the loop of like he's out in the world just catching Pokemon, and he starts to get the loop of what's going on, and it went from 5 minutes of like him going is it this button, and I go, yeah, press Y, and he presses Y. It's like and really shy and just like really loving it. And then 5 minutes later, I turn around and he's sitting there going, like, just shut the fuck up and let me catch the Pokemon. Like, stop bringing up menus, stop doing really slow talking to me. My kid is 4 and he's already sick of Nintendo's bullshit when it comes to like how slowly they drip feed out the constant fucking gibberish in their games.
Okay, I'm with you on this. I thought for a second you were talking about like the charming way in which they cover language with noises and cool sounds and stuff, but like
the courtroom is not on your side, Nick. I have to say, looking at the citizens in chat.
But no, Nick.
I hold you all in contempt. Get the fuck out of my courtroom.
But Nick, you're saying it's the length.
He's got the hammer.
It's the duration, not the. Or is it the way in which it's delivered?
I don't care. It's totally fine. But it's
okay, good.
One line and then hit A. One line, hit A. One line, hit A. It's just like, just let me hit A. Go.
Has he tried holding A?
Some of them have hold A, which is good, and some of them have hold B to speed it up, and then keep tapping A, which
here's the thing. None of you like it. None of you like this. You just you're used to it.
We're literally talking about the ways to speed through it.
It's all you've ever known.
you every time this comes up, you're just like, oh yeah, this is what we do on this platform, but it's wrong. It's just a shit way to deliver story and narrative. So
fair enough,
into prison, force gibberish. I'm forcing you to make fucking license plates for the next 10 years.
Fair enough.
Gus, pet peeve number 2.
I guess mine's kind of similar to you. I'm going to say it's basically what Nick said, but the grown-up version, the non-Nintendo version of it, which is unnecessary.
A grown-up would do their hair in the morning. Yeah.
I am throwing unnecessary radio chatter into prison. I have just found that more and more games these days are deciding to give you your quest, tell you what to do, and then fill the silence, and you know how much I like filling silence, but fill that silence of whatever travel time between objectives with just inane radio chatter that people are talking in your ear. You might have literally just left that person, and then they just start talking to you. I was like, you're still there. Your lips aren't even moving. Far Cry 6 I got to play recently a little bit. It does that really, like a lot of Far Cries do, but that one seems like there's going to be a fair amount of it in there as well. You head off on that mission that they just told you about. You just read the brief. You looked on the map where to go. You read the little thing on the map, and the second you leave, they start telling you this chatter which is meant to flesh out that mission, but sometimes, most of the time I would say, it feels really like they're just going over the same thing they just told you in a different way, and it feels like writers flexing when they don't need to, and it's not very good writing. The opposite of that I really love is my classic Death Stranding actually like lets so much air like in between travel time, and like no one calls you. It's like no one talks to you, because that's because fucking Kojima basically puts like 2-hour cutscenes. Like there's nothing else to say after you've sat in a cutscene for that long. You leave and you just get nothing. You get to enjoy the travel. You get to enjoy the dead air.
Sorry, I can't let you have anything when you talk about Death Stranding, because that's bullshit. Sure, there's like moments of gameplay.
There is radio chatter.
There's radio chatter. Yeah, and you get to a station and drop shit off, and Guillermo del Toro says the same fucking bullshit over and over and over. He's Nintendo.
Or Jeff Keighley's there doing it.
That's a hologram. That's a hologram, and it's different, and you're there, and you can't move. For me, it's the stuff that's happening. It's the stuff that's happening while you're still playing the game. It's like, just shut up, I get it. And there are good games that let you like interrupt the radio, and then the person goes, "Oh, I guess you're busy," and they leave. That's good, but the rest of it, bullshit. Send it to jail. Put it in the D block.
All right, D block. D block. Everything. Just D block. Normally I would do the jail thing, but he did the jail thing, so that I'm like, all right, well, you'll just go to the D block. Stephanie, your second peeve.
My second peeve is when you when you pick up a new weapon or typically a weapon in a game, and it doesn't give you a clear option to compare it against the weapon you already have. Like most games do this, but I've just played a few recently that haven't, or they've been like, this gun is of equal value to this gun in a really vague way. And I'm like, I need to know some more detailed information to know if I should pick up this one and exchange it with the one that I have or not. And it really irritates me, especially someone who's like, doesn't play enough competitive shooters to have like extensive fucking gun knowledge. So for me, like a burst assault fucking whatever rifle versus a semi-automatic carbine fucking whatever.
She's angry. She's angry. She's fucking angry.
I need to be able to have more details that tells me how those guns are different, so that I don't end up regretting my choice. And I really don't like it when they even if they do include it, if it's not clear which is the one that you have and which is the one that's in your thing.
Yes, the one where it's like, which one am I? And then you press the button and, you go, and you're like...
And what it needs, every game needs to have very clear which one you're holding, but then it basically compares, like, there's default stats on everything, like rate of fire, damage, whatever, like clip size, blah, blah, blah. And then I need green arrows up and red arrows down, just going like, this is, because then you can go, well, sure, these guns aren't really comparable, but the thing that I care about is like, it spits out bullets faster than the enemy's going to be able to deal with. So rate of fire is the only thing I'm looking at there.
Yeah.
That's just a sensible answer.
That's a tricky one.
You're right.
They should all have.
Why do you
disagree? I don't disagree. They should all have like a compare thing, but it's like sometimes that's too little information as well, because it's like a gun feel and how you play is more important than necessarily base DPS. It's like a sniper rifle has the highest damage per second maybe, but it's like it's not the right gun for you, because if you miss half your shots, then it's actually going to take you longer to kill something because it takes you so long to fight between shots, kind of thing. So.
Yeah, sure, but I get that those are just like decisions you can make within yourself. But I feel like on a basic like level, I just need some understanding of like why this gun is, you know, different from this one and in what ways.
Yeah,
and if it's
definitely valuable comparing a sniper rifle to a sniper rifle for sure. Where it's like, I get what you're saying. Like, you know, a shotgun is going to do X amount of damage, but it's also like it's a very different gun to a SMG, and you can't. It's like apples and oranges or whatever. But like, I still think that, you know, stats are important to be able to differentiate like guns with each other.
If you're talking about the ability to see that, like it's you agree that it's that the game's shit at showing you that, and that's why.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
I'm ready to rule. Incomparable care. Your wife's gonna leave you while you're in prison, and your kids are gonna call someone else daddy.
There's no sound effect for the hammer.
You're hammering a pillow.
I know, that's why it's great.
I'll do a clap for when you smash it.
Let's test that. Let's test that now. Okay, and go.
It's like
one clap for 8 hammers.
I didn't know how many he was going to do. I thought it was one solid bang.
It's me. I've never just done one solid bang. It's 8 bangs.
8 bangs is all it takes.
Okay, cool. Peter, your second peeve.
My second peeve is potentially a controversial one. I hate becoming over-encumbered. You're a video game. This is fantasy. Let me pick up all the Dragon Bone Skyrim. What the fuck? Who cares? How does it make the game more fun that I can't carry all the Dragon Bones back to Whiterun?
Yes.
Like,
but would you agree there still needs to be a limitation on the number of items you can carry?
No.
Or do you think,
depends on the game, but why in Skyrim does that matter?
A Mary Poppins bag of stuff, and you just can hold as many things in the universe as you want?
If you can run around carrying, like, think about Destiny, Steph. You're running around technically carrying like 30 guns and 6 pieces of armor per slot.
I think you'll find that the ghost is storing those.
Shut the fuck up. No one cares. I'm totally on your side with this. Like, as soon as I can carry a sword and an axe and a pot, it's like, well, I can't do that, so we're already in the realms of like pockets that go to nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I need those limitations on me, otherwise I would just become a hoarder, and I already find inventory management a stressful task in and of itself, and to add no limits to that, I think would be
you can have 8,000 fucking mushrooms in your backpack. It's like,
just get really squished.
Why? It's so arbitrary.
Well, I think they just need to be more forgiving with the weight of everything, because I agree. Like, it's annoying when because this happened recently in New World. Actually, I kept getting over encumbered, and I'm like, what am I carrying that's heavy? Because I don't feel like I have that much stuff. And it was water. I gathered a bunch of water to make potions, and water was really heavy because water is heavy in real life. And I was frustrated by that. I understand where you're coming from, but I think there need to be some limitations on people. Otherwise, it's just...
I think survival games...
It's a free-for-all, and it's chaos.
Survival games and that,
like, it's a core part of it.
And that Resident Evil suitcase storage thing is kind of like cool for those games, because you're like, you have to be clever with it. But yeah, you're right. Skyrim or anything that you can start carrying double digits of any item, it's like, no, it's fucked. Just take as much as you want.
And I don't think we've ever done this, but can I add an addendum to your pet peeve? because I
Please.
think you could agree. I in the same vein, I hate run stamina in video games. Like the idea that I can run and then run out of puff, and then I just need to walk for a little bit and then run again. So like you can only run for like 10 seconds, and then your character slows down for a bit, and then you need to hit the run button again. And
It's
then you
dependent
press
on the
it.
game.
I think
and I'm like,
that's game based. That's game based.
Yeah, there are some games where that makes
hate
it
it.
interesting.
I hate it. Which
I will
name
not
a
allow the-
single game.
I will not
name
allow
a single game where that's made it
The
interesting.
amendment to my bill.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't allow
But
that.
because I think it's there's more to talk about there, and we're keeping
Really?
and I need over encumbering to go to jail. So
Oh my god! I also saw, and I will put it in jail. Don't you worry. Nanogene said that's called life, Nick. Again, this is video games. No, it's fucking not. Like at the end of that run, that character is sliding under like a brick wall and then leaping over a fence and then like running it. No.
It's
no,
called
we
real
can't-
life?
There's no real life argument when it comes to this. But over in
Sorry, mistrial. We're not allowed to put that in.
No, over encumbrance. We're putting over
good.
encumbrance.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
said
yeah.
you were winding up.
Over encumbrance. Yeah, over encumbrance. You're going into prison and you're taking with you a unlimited run stamina.
Holy shit.
You were found guilty of accessory of stamina or encumbrance. Yes. My final one is I don't
Should
like.
we just play
having
the
to-
slide first and then talk about?
No. That's the group one. At the
Oh,
end.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
My final one is I don't like in a video game where I need to make a character class choice before I've played a single second of that video game, and there is not a clear explanation as to what this class does. So. The latest one that I ran into was like Final Fantasy 14, which admittedly, once you hit a certain point, you can change your character class to whatever, but it still does like go, okay, you are locked in for a certain period of time with this character class, and particularly when they do that thing where it's not like mage, ranger, soldier, and tank, but they go like, this person is a savant. And it's like, okay, what the fuck is a savant, and what do they do? And when there's not like, I will tolerate it if there's a little video showing me all the different abilities that like I'll have at the beginning, so I understand like what kind of playstyle I'm going to put together. But it seems so strange to me that so many games make you make such a fundamental choice about like whether or not you will enjoy playing this video game at the beginning of the video game before you've done anything else.
Yeah.
I'm a
Every
splicer.
every game.
I'm a drifter. What?
Yeah,
It's like-
they need a Dota style demo hero.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
even videos
And they
only
need
do
to
so
show
much.
you.
You don't know
and they
what
need
it
to show
feels like
you.
to play
Like
that.
if you've got cool spells, you need to see what those cool spells look like, and if you're going to have sick outfits, you need to see what that's going to look like towards the end, because that's going to affect your choice.
Yeah, totally. And it's also a situation where like there's no consistency. Like sometimes I like being a spellcaster, but if the spells don't feel satisfying to throw out, then
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I won't want to be a
Yeah.
spellcaster. I'll want to go do something where the combat is actually interesting to play.
Yeah, put me in a big open space with some target dummies or any of the AI from Deathloop, Pachinga, basically the same thing, and just let me like destroy some stuff.
Yeah,
And
I
hold
wanna
on
feel those
between those
abilities.
classes, or
Yeah.
be like, cool, I'm going to try that. I'll try that.
Yeah,
Let me go back and try that
demo
again.
the hero. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Monster
it's like-
Hunter does a good version of this, where you can go into that area
nice.
just with all the weapons and just be like click through them all. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it should be like genuinely banned. I don't think it should put in prison. I'm pulling it out. Death sentence for you, early class choice. You are. I'm gonna hang you and give you the poison injection at the same time. It's
We need a
bullshit.
new animation for that.
It's weak sauce. And then there's a final one, and this is a group one.
There's a
Pete,
final
do you want to
Should we all
introduce the group
say
one?
it at the same time?
It's incest.
It's incest in video games. We gotta stop putting incest in video games.
Enough
guys.
incest in your games.
It's too much. It's too much.
We've seen enough incest. I
I've
speak
seen enough.
on behalf of all of us here at Court Back Pocket when I say let brothers and sisters just be brothers and sisters.
Let stepbrothers and sisters.
Didn't you like
stay
that
on,
weird JRPG
on
No,
house.
one
no,
though,
no,
Nick?
Step brothers
Also,
and sisters
like-
are fine.
That's fine.
sexy. Yeah. I'm talking about
I feel like you made the decision, didn't you, to have your brother and sister fuck in 12 minutes, and I didn't do that.
They've had a baby. They're having a baby. That
having
happens.
a
She's
baby.
pregnant, Steph. She's pregnant. They've been fucking for
But you
ages.
watched it.
she's like-
you watched it happen.
Yeah, but you watched it. It doesn't change the fact that the character did it.
Just because
Why are you blaming Nick?
I'm not the perverted one, so what if I get off on incest? It's about the fact that they're committing it. That's the sickening thing.
Right. Okay.
It's the fact they're getting away with it.
Yeah, that's it. So incest, we are done with you in video games. We're gonna lock you up in separate jail cells. We know what you get up to.
It's back in jail.
Back in jail.
If we play that in reverse, does
time.
it break out?
I don't know that I can play it reverse.
Oh, don't worry. I don't want
Don't give it. Don't give
let
it the
it out.
opportunity.
Let me try. Let me try something.
Oh, God.
Let me try something here.
Yep, and stop. And
No, but
wind it back.
I'm just gonna scrub it backwards. No,
Yep.
it's not gonna work because it's in an overlay
No.
channel. It's not gonna work.
Damn.
No, sorry.
Probably for the best, to be honest.
Well, and a big apologies to everyone at the house who heard me yell incest a lot. Sorry about that, because I'm related to all of you. Okay, that is it for Pocket Peeves. We put some good things in prison, well, some bad things in prison where they belong, and we hope to never see any of these
Do we
things.
play
in
it out with
video
the title
games
card? Because we've got to thank It's Jepp again.
again. Yeah,
Sure.
let's stay thinking.
Oh, it's Nicrotex.
Hunt.
His first night
Wait,
in
no,
the
it was
joint had
Nicrotex,
to
not
Frank
This is
cost me
Nicrotex.
2
Jepp
packs of
was
cigarettes. He
pocket league.
never made a sound.
That's going to help me sleep.
There's Gus,
Rowan.
for the next one, I want you to add your voice there at the end of that. Go,
Yeah.
that's going to help me sleep. Because that sounded like it could have just been part of the titles. Okay, good. We'll be back after this short break.
How is everyone today? Chuck ladder out the window. What? Out of control, out of control. I am out of control. Everything at once. I like being faster than the game is. For instance, I could do this. That was fun, and I'd like to do more of that.
Here at Boxwell, we can box whatever you want. You got something that needs a box, we'll have the box for that thing. We can put books in boxes, pillows in boxes. I've put tins of black beans in boxes. One time I put 32 VHS copies of the film The Boxer in a Boxwell box. Basically, you bring it in and we'll box it. Well, because we're Boxwell. Last week a lady came in with a wooden box and she asked me to put that box in a Boxwell box that was bigger. She didn't think I could put a box in a bigger box, but I sure as hell did. I put that box in a bigger Boxwell box and I showed her and she fucked right off. Put a body in a box. Yeah, boxed a couple of bodies, yeah. No, not at work. Not at work. Yeah, Boxwell boxes are the best quality boxes money can buy. So in order to protect that box, every time we box something in a Boxwell, we make sure to put that Boxwell in another box to protect the Boxwell box from being damaged by other shitty home brand boxes. No one takes boxes more seriously than us, not even Michael B. Jordan. Little box joke there for all you box lovers. Michael B. Jordan, of course, Michael Box Jordan to his friends and family, of which I am one. I know him. So when you need it boxed well, use a Boxwell, because no one boxes boxes like Boxwell.
You need a Gus single that just has a default like slow zoom with some like really traumatizing music.
No, it would be.
As it
What's the
slowly
meme?
zooms in on his face.
The nose is the penis of the face is like, it's kind of a useless thing that hangs around. It's not quite true. But like, the boobs are like, they are to be looked at sometimes, not to be looked at.
Welcome back. What a moment. What a moment. Never. It's so nice when those sort of like defining moments in our lives are captured on video.
That's great. It's so great.
A big thank you as well to Boxy for supporting us at patreon.com. And of course, a big thank you to BTNano as well. I don't really want to say thank you to DolphinPants and Lisdalia for whatever they did to everyone during the ad break.
Oh my gosh. And can I just say as well, Papa Vexian now has a Twitch account and is in the chat. And I was very worried about what he must think of us based on that.
Papa Vexi has done much worse. Thank you very much to BTNano, Boxwell, and Lisdalia DolphinPants. Please never send that in again.
Double down. That's what. Go. If don't listen to Nick, listen to me. Double down on it. Send more.
Put him in Pep
You'll be fine.
We are rounded out the show now because it's that time of the evening where we're going to head into post-show territory. We're going to have a kickback chat about something. We'll think of something to talk about. There'll be some questions that we need to answer. So if you want to join us for the post show as well, head to patreon.com/backpocket. Become a member of our wonderful Patreon community, and you can gain access to our Discord. And in that Discord, there's a channel. If you've paid enough on Patreon, there'll be a link in that channel, and you just need to click on that link, and it'll take you to the post show. That's literally all the steps you need to do to get access to this special post show. A big thank you as well to everyone who has subscribed to us on Twitch with subs, gifting subs, Argonide, Toxichalk in particular, giving out 5 subs each over the course of the night this evening. So very much appreciated. And if you want to follow more Backpocket action, then make sure you follow us on our socials. Head to @BackpocketVids on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And you can keep up on all the good work that Big Ben does. The musings about life. We should maybe there's a day where we could just open that up to Ben's opinions. And I haven't cleared this with anyone, as you can tell, because Pete just looked back at the camera and was like, what the fuck did you just say?
Where's Ben's opinion going?
Yeah. On all of our social medias. But Yeah. Like, you know, it's sort of like he takes over the account for the day, but then just tweets out really controversial
don't we just keep that up our
opinions or something.
We keep that up our sleeve so for when we write something shit, we're like, well, that might have been Ben. That's what he's there. That's I believe what you call a fool.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
That's not why I like that.
Oh gosh.
Oh dear.
Gus, are you going to be streaming tomorrow?
I don't think tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a Game Club stream this weekend because I want to do like an 6 to 8 hour kind of big chunky stream. So I'm that'll either be on Saturday or Sunday. I'll try and give everyone as much of a heads up as possible. But that was another one.
Did you just say you're not streaming tomorrow?
No, I will not do it tomorrow. I'll be doing work tomorrow, and then
I'm going to stream tomorrow. Life is strange, guys.
God.
Let's do it.
You know where to put your eyeballs.
There you go.
But yeah, I'll be doing that.
Fun events.
Jumping back in on the weekend, and then back to regular schedule next week for the Game Club. So, yep, keep your eyes out for those.
Beautiful. A very big thank you to our mods, keeping the chat a wholesome place to be, and the Discord as well. That's Gat, Syntax, Eric, Kit Carnage, Lisdalia, Sithcat, Phoenix Align, Disturbed, Jax, Caboose, and What the Shark. We love all of you so much. Someone put a handle on Lisdalia, though. She knows what she did.
Everyone blow her a kiss. Everyone blow her a kiss with a sound effect.
And of course, a massive thank you to all of the Backpocket patrons who help make this show possible each and every week. And a big thank you to our top stitchers. You know who you are, but we're going to shout you out anyway with smooth clapping that definitely works this time. These people are the man who has all the knees. It's Oranishi.
Hey.
It's Mason, not Nathan. And don't you fucking forget it, Will. Happy birthday to Slowpunk. Hope you have a great one like always. It stopped working again. I don't know what's going on.
Why is it broken?
I don't know. This is just one asset.
LokiCat, he knows what he did. No one invoke his name. It's Raj. Look out for Raj. He's coming for you. When you want to sue the Lord, call Akarash. It's Camo. Wait, where is he? Because he's Camo. It's a Vex Destiny 2 companion app ER. Thank you very much, Vexia. Look out, Nicrotex. She's in your blanket right now. No one puts him in a box, and then that box in a corner, because it's Boxy, the literal ray of sunshine in all of our lives, the coastal city. Max Jazz Games, Kung Pooby, Kung Pooby, Kung Pooby, Kung Pooby, Kung Pooby, Kung Pooby. Say it 5 times and he just comes at you. pleasure. The Vega bus, on the other hand, isn't coming. It's here. Hey, Timothy. Hey, it's Timothy. It's Jepp. It's a Jepp thing. I heard he bought a Jepp. It's Jepp thing. And Evil Spy Boy. We used to be sponsored by Good Spy Boy, but then something happened to him. I wonder who did it. It was definitely Evil Spy Boy, even though it turns out, as revealed at the top of the show, Evil Spy Boy is actually quite a nice human being who just wants you to donate to charity. Go to Food Bank Australia.
That's lovely.
We'll figure out what's going on with that clapping.
It's worked every time, but on show
It
night.
always works in testing.
It always
works
in
in testing.
Now I feel like it needs to stay broken to kind of represent the.
I'll fix it so hard it'll break even more.
The quirk of our show, in which things are often slightly broken.
It's scuffed slightly.
It's scuffed.
Speaking of scuffed and broken, Raj is sponsoring the post show, so stick around for the post show, sponsored by everyone's favorite Raj. It's Raj. And thank you very much, everyone, for hanging out. This was a good one. We got some real games under our belt.
Show us, yeah.
Should we swing it out?
Just how long the show goes. Let's swing it out. We'll see you in the post show.